Okay, what it do? What it do? What it do? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with my good man Ellis, Adam, Duane. We are going to have good conversation and some shenanigans, I'm sure. What we do in this venue is everybody brings a topic to the table for discussion. Whatever that topic is, no topic is off the table. We will discuss it, or maybe there will be shenanigans about it. Gentlemen, I know some of you have your drinks at the ready. What are you drinking, Ellis? Fresh
honey
old
bourbon.
fashioned.
No, this is honey bourbon right here. So it's extra.
Oh, that's
good.
Oh, switch it
nice.
up.
Because we know it's a long conversation. It has to be.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
every situation has a bourbon.
Can't put you to sleep. Yeah.
No,
Right.
no,
There we go.
not at all. Yeah. So listen, coming in, we have no idea what the topics are going to be.
Mhm.
So here's what we're gonna do. First, I want to give everybody who is watching the video version of this. I'm gonna pop Ellis's information up. Ellis, tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, where people can follow you.
Who am I? First of all, I have my phone on mute and do not disturb. Second,
As it should be.
I'm Ellis Mbeh. I am a digital marketer. I'm uber passionate business owner, black owned business owner. I don't know, that doesn't sound right, but I own a business. I'm black. It's called Pivot New Media, social media digital marketing agency. Really focus on connecting business digital efforts to business outcomes.
Yes.
I am a big fan of WWE. So if you go to my Twitter account down there, you'd be like, oh, it's that guy who looks surprised at WrestleMania. That's me.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
He put it together.
And that's where it all, you see. So anyway, you're
the shocked Undertaker guy. It's a fact.
Word
I'm
up.
the shocked Undertaker guy, but in the marketing space, and to those who work at Twitter and those who work at Facebook, I'm the shocked Undertaker guy who knows his stuff.
Yeah,
so you can never really mess with me. So they use my meme in presentations, in front of the whole organization, and they're like, actually, he's a buyer, and he calls them out on a crap around impressions. Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's who I am.
You know your stuff. Now listen, before I let you just slide out right quick, you do Twitter Spaces, right? Couple times a week. So Tuesdays, what is it?
Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's Turnbuckle Spaces. So if you go to @Turnbuckle_Space or follow me on Twitter, you'll get alerted when I'm live. But it's me, Mimi, April, Corey, and Drew. We just talk about all the things that happen about wrestling. On Fridays, I have about like 3 of these. So it's not honey bourbon. It is straight like the worst. By 1 o'clock, what's that guy from ESPN who gets real loud?
Stephen A. Smith?
No, Well,
not Stephen A. Smith.
Who gets louder than Stephen A?
Yeah, you probably talking about Stephen A. Smith. Him or Shannon Sharp. You talk about either from Shannon Sharp or Fox. You're thinking about Shannon Sharp and Fox. Yeah. Oh, you talking about with the I got you.
Yeah,
with the Henry.
It gets that bad.
Yeah,
it gets that bad. Like people in the space say, tweet. This is L's right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's so Friday nights is when it's at. So if you want to,
Friday nights is the real. That's when they need to really be.
Friday nights is bad.
Okay. Tuesday is all business. Friday night it's all over.
Right.
He said he got Shannon Sharp though.
Adam.
Yeah.
Adam, my man.
Skill.
Listen, we know each other for a long time. Look, for those watching the video, you can jump on Adam's Instagram right there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Talk to us, man. Tell us about yourself, what you do.
What's
going on with you?
I am a podcast producer and host. Actually, I'm a host first, producer second. I'm the host of the What Are Those podcast, where we explore the art of sneaker culture. But it's not just about sneakers. It really is just an excuse to talk to cool people and a lot of my friends while talking about sneakers. I love sneakers. I love hip hop culture. So it's a good way to mix all of that into one. I also am the host of the Butler Did a podcast, which will be returning soon. And that's just my pod where I talk about all sorts of stuff. I like to focus on mental health, but I talk about all sorts of things and interview all sorts of people. You see it running in the background because I promote shamelessly. Yeah. Hey, man, you got to, man. Yeah, man, that's just me. Yeah, man, I just like to run my mouth, man. That's why I'm on this show. Gage know that. I've been doing that for years. And that's me, man. Follow me, MSR_Adam. You can get all of my links on my Instagram and Twitter.
My man. Now, Duane, is this where the shenanigans begin?
This might be where the shenanigans begin.
Duane, man, tell us a bit about yourself, man, because you was just like, yeah, don't put my name up, don't give them don't.
Well, I'm pretty much here to save the world. You know what I mean? That's my role. That's my goal. I'm here to bring things that are out of balance into balance.
Okay.
Duane Price. I've been around, seen a lot. I've done everything from the music industry to I was a rapper when in the beginning. I was breakdancing before that. I was in singing groups. I was in singing groups with some pretty
well-known folks.
Pretty well-known artists out there. Right now, I am currently working. I have a business called Price's Glass Service with me and my brother. We're part of basically a family business that started probably about 40 years ago. And me and my brother just carrying on the name and carrying on the business. As I said, I'm just highly opinionated, well-versed in a lot of different topics. I like to go to war.
He does. He lives for it. That's what's up, man. Okay, so listen, here's what I want to know from you all. Would you all prefer to announce your topic and go straight into it, or y'all want to go around and announce everybody's topic first, so we know what we're getting into? It doesn't matter to me.
I don't need to know the topic beforehand.
I need to know the topic.
Yeah, I don't need to know the topic.
Everybody's good with that.
But y'all might want to know my topic before we begin. Because
why don't we just start with you?
Start with it. There you go.
I'm here to save the world.
Let's go.
When I say I'm here to save the world, you said go ahead. Are we?
Yeah.
Okay. When I say we're here I'm here to save the world. My problem with the entire world right now.
Okay.
People don't have their scales properly. So what I mean by scales is if we say on a scale of 1 to 10, if we say a scale of 1 to 5, 5 mics. If we do things of that nature, I think there's a lot of discrepancies. I've seen a lot of things over the last couple of weeks, especially that have kind of gotten under my skin. Sure. So one day you'll talk to somebody that saw Spiderman No Way Home, right? And this gentleman will come out of the theater and he will tell you. I say, what did you rank it on a scale of 1 to 10? He'll say 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he'll say no less than 8.5. Okay, so this is what happens. So then that same gentleman will go into the movies and see the Batman, and he will come out of the Batman and say, "Best Batman ever." Maybe my favorite comic book movie of all time. I'm saying, okay, cut through the chase. What did you rank it? He'll say 9.5 or a 9. And I'll say to this gentleman, hold on, wait a minute. You said Spider-Man No Way Home was an 8.5. You're going to say the Batman is a 9 to 9.5. So, because I don't trust people's scales, and remember, this is all about scales.
Sure.
Because I don't trust people's scales, I say, wait a minute. So now that you've seen the Batman, what do you rank Spider-Man No Way Home? What does this gentleman say? He does what a lot of people that all of us know does. This gentleman says, I got to put it at around a 7.5 to 8. Now, when I talked to this same gentleman after he saw the Batman twice, he lowered Spider-Man No Way Home down to a 7. So how does this happen? So when I say I'm here to save the world, it's because people don't realize that they're out of order until someone calls into question their judgment. So,
okay.
And we can backtrack to that. We can backtrack to the comic book stuff. So what I also use as an example all the time, and you can understand that I've had these conversations a million times. This isn't just something people can just throw out numbers to me. I ask everybody, I say, so who are your celebrity crushes? Now, I'm not saying everybody has the same celebrity crushes, but you'll give an overwhelming response of Beyonce, Rihanna.
Okay.
So now we're talking about scales. Some say, well, what's the scale on 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
They're both 10s. So what happens is you ask these same people, who would you prefer out of Rihanna and Beyonce? What do most of them say overwhelmingly? Oh, Rihanna by a long shot. I said, whoa. So if it's Rihanna by a long shot,
oh man,
can Beyonce be a 10? How can another 10 smoke a fellow 10?
By a long shot?
Is there something wrong? Because for some people, some reason, people have a problem with saying, well, Beyonce might be at 8.5. Because if you're going to say Rihanna's a 10 and she blows away the other one, you can't make Beyonce a 9. Not is it blown away?
Hey, listen, just to play devil's advocate for a moment.
I'm gonna need something stronger
because that's what I'm supposed to do. Just to play devil's advocate for a moment.
Sure.
Is it at all possible, right? That because you said people's scales are out of balance. Clearly, based on what you're saying, scales ain't balanced.
Not based off me.
Right.
But is it at all possible that they're just unable to find a way to quantify saying, Rihanna really is a 20.
Right.
But you told me a scale of 1 to 10, so I can't go past 10.
Right.
So really, they both 10s on the scale you gave me because a thermometer only goes so high.
Yeah.
Right. If you take both their temperatures, right, the thermometer's only going to go where it is. Now, that don't necessarily mean if the thermometer stops at 10, that don't mean their temperature not higher than that. Right. I can't tell you no.
No. See,
I'm just asking.
What you're giving them. See, what you're giving them, and especially with a lot of younger people. See, a lot of younger people, their gauges, no pun intended, their gauge is really thrown out of whack because to them, they include a lot of variables that us old schoolers, I don't think we include a lot of that stuff. To me, a scale of 1 to 10 is a scale of 1 to 10. Right. If I'm saying how many mics do you give it, a 5 mic album is incredible.
Is a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10.
See, the problem is when you talk to young people,
let's go.
They don't 100% understand that if you give something a 9.5, that's pretty much you saying that's the best movie you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Right?
No, because it's not a 10.
Whoa.
So hit. No. So
you've seen a 10 before?
Have I seen a 10 before? No. Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. I'm listening. You have the floor.
I've not seen a 10. I've never seen a 10 before in my life.
Okay. A movie?
Movie. Yeah, I've not seen a 10.
I've seen a 10. I've seen a 10.
Hey.
You've seen a 10?
The issue is this, right? The issue is this. I got this for you right now. I need, and maybe you can help me understand this.
Okay.
So, are you saying, or are you assuming, which it sounds like you're assuming, there is a universal set of criteria when it comes to ranking? Because in reality, there is no universal set of criteria for your ranking. So since you have not set, so example, I do a digital health check for my free consultations through pivotalnewmedia.com. Go to the website, upper left-hand corner, you press sign up to get a free consultation. What we do during that meeting, we talk, we have a conversation and see where you currently are at with your business and your digital journey for your customers. Now, it's really 1 out of 5, right? But what's the criteria? So I ask a series of questions, and we go through each one of those sections and say, hey, where would you rank yourself? Now, we go through each one of those 5 criteria, you get a score. Now, we do this math, and now you have an overall score based off the criteria that we have identified to give you this actual score. So you come to me and say, hey, have you seen the best movie ever? I want to tell you, I haven't cried to death. And since I'm still alive, I have not cried to death. Okay. That means that Brandon will have to have told you what my favorite movie was. I died in the movie theater.
Yes. So here's the thing.
Okay.
This is
This is
wow.
Let me just hold on. Let me just make sure. So, for you, Ellis, for a movie to rank a 10, it would have to break your emotions down so far.
He has to die.
You
He has
would
to die.
pass out.
He had to perish in the movie theater.
I have to
He'd
perish.
He'd have to evaporate and die.
Then you've never seen Terms of Endearment, have you?
Probably not.
No, I have not.
Hold on.
So if you want to die, on your couch next to your wife with your honey bourbon or 2 or 3,
watch Terms of Endearment.
Watch Terms of Endearment. This movie's gonna break you in half.
But okay,
okay. But real quick, before you go, Adam, I'm gonna say this: if we're gonna say the best movie I've ever seen, then I still can't call the best movie I've ever seen because I lived was Avengers Endgame. Because in my life, I've never yelled emotionally. Never in my life did I say, "Let's go." Louder than anyone else in this movie theater, giving them permission to yell also. But I have not. But the issue is, again, since that criteria has not been identified in your rankings, your rating, your scale is actually flawed. So I just want to say this. Thank you very much. My TED talk is done.
Now listen, my scale.
Go ahead, turn off my camera. No.
My scale isn't flawed. Now, what you will remember, what we'll go back to is what I said. People's scales are off. Okay. See, I didn't ask you based off my scale. I'm saying that if I'm asking a person to rank something on a scale of 1 to 10, and they
say this is a 10 and this is a 10, but this one's a way better 10 than the other.
Better 10 than that. See, in the words of the great late Mr. Ennis, my 8th grade algebra teacher, he explained very clearly, on a scale of 1 to 10, you can't be an 11 or a 12. Right. It is what it is. Right. So people's scales are screwed up. This doesn't have anything to do with my opinion. I am saying, and we can have varying levels of opinion on scale, all of us, but you cannot make Beyonce and Rihanna a 10 if one can be blown out of the water by another. That is impossible. That means that someone has to be reduced down, and some people can't do that. They can't.
They can't.
Because it's
what it takes to do that.
It's because we live in a hype culture. It's basically what we're saying. Okay. Right. Everything you see is the greatest thing you've ever seen. The basketball player you're watching now is the greatest basketball player you ever watched. He's the greatest this, the greatest that, this to that. And I understand where you're coming from, right? That's why I say I have seen a 10. Okay. I have seen a 10. For me, as a film guy, to me, The Godfather is the greatest film that I have seen, that I'll ever see, I have seen. And I have a standard that things can excite me. You mentioned Endgame, right? Yeah, that excited me. That moment, I love the movie, by the way. That moment excited me on the level of a 10, but the film for me was not a 10. But 10, but so to your point, like not everything needs to be a 10. I think people need to understand that an 8 is great. Yeah. 8 is almost as good as you're going to get in everyday life.
8 is a great score.
Yeah, if you're having a day, if your day is an 8, you're having an amazing fucking day. If it's a 10, wow, what happened in your life? Yeah, what happened to you on the 10? You
won the lottery that day.
You won the lottery. You know like, I don't even know. Yeah, your child was born. Something crazy. Yeah.
Let me kind of putting it all together, right? Like, Ellis, you have been on top 10 shows that we've done for Loading Snacks. Adam, you've also been on top 10 shows that we've done for Loading Snacks.
Yes.
When we did, matter of fact, Adam, you were on when we did our top 10 MCU.
Yes. A great show, by the way.
Our number one MCU film was Black Panther.
Yes, it was.
Now
yes, it was. And we did it by a voting system too.
Exactly, because there was a criteria. So in my opinion, Black Panther is not the best MCU film.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
But
it wasn't my number one either.
it wasn't your number one either.
Yeah.
However, we had 5 people, and of all 5 people, the only MCU film that was on all 5 people's top 10 was Black Panther.
Yes.
And based on the criteria we set, each movie gets points based on how many top 10s it is on.
Yes.
So that immediately put that, we knew as soon as everybody gave their top 10 that Black Panther was the overall number one MCU film.
Yeah.
Right. And if I ask you personally, what is your top 3 MCU films, you can give me all kinds of criteria for why you feel the way you feel about it.
Right.
However, trying to bring that system together, when I came up with that idea for this is how we're going to do the top 10, the only way I could see to do it fairly was to say everybody write their own top 10. And when we come together, you'll announce your top 10. And all we did was write down everybody's top 10 and then tally it up. How many times did each one appear? And that's how we made that decision. So technically, right, for Loading Snacks, as a group, our number one MCU film is Black Panther. Right. But if you ask me what mine is, it ain't Black Panther. But I'm a part of that problem, right? Like I'm a part of that because it's a conglomerate and it's a discussion, right? And the idea that regardless, it's on everybody's top 10, and it wasn't some people's top 3. Now I could have said, well, depending on how far up or down it is on your scale, we'll adjust the points and give something more points or less points because Black Panther was somebody's 10 and it was somebody else's 3. You know what I mean?
That would have been way too complicated.
Way too complicated. Way too complicated.
Yes. And listen, what did Obi-Wan say? Only a Sith deals in absolutes. And our problem is we dealing with, you like that, Alice? We dealing with,
but who's saying the Sith are wrong or right? They're
no.
Right?
But that is actually that's actually the point I'm making is that what's a 10 to me and what's a 10 to you could be completely different. I just sat in and said The Godfather is the best film I've ever seen. You all may or may not agree with that. You have probably seen a film. So like when we going off, yeah, oh sure. I mean, right, but it doesn't have to be your number one, and it certainly doesn't have to be a 10 to you. So it's different saying this is a top 5 film, right? Or is it a perfect film to you? Is The Wire the perfect show? Is The Wire the best show you've ever seen? Is Game of Thrones? Whatever, you know, whatever it may be, it's all dependent on the person. So that's why it's very difficult to say. I often don't like. I like being on your rank show, Gage. That was great, but like I often don't deal with these things because what I think is great is completely different to what you may feel like is great. What gives you joy is completely different, and the same thing goes for a beautiful woman. Somebody may think Rihanna's the most beautiful woman, and the next man may say, you know, Jill Scott.
Right
and
now,
you may trip off that, but
to go back to Duane's point, that does still mean that if on your own scale, one is a 10,
yes,
it is way better than the other one. That sounds to, I mean, like way better than like a blowout to me.
Yeah,
that other joint's like a 4 or a 5. If it's way, you know what I'm saying? If it's way better, so that does equate to what he's saying. That yes, people's scales, their own scales, are out of balance. However, what I was going to say is, I think part of the reason why that happens, and you did specifically refer to young people. I don't think that's specifically young people at all. What I think happens is it's yes, we're a hype culture, but more than we're a hype culture, we're a review culture. We live in this world where the first thing we do when somebody sees something is, what'd you think? What did you decide? What did you think? My entire Loading Snacks show, most of the time, is based on other people wanting to know how I felt about something, why I enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it, what I think of it, you know what I mean? And in one way or the other. If you look at companies that base a lot of their business on ranking things, for instance, like an IGN, which is like the number one entertainment media company, right? They have a scale that goes 1 to 10, and they've changed their scale. Sometimes it's a 100-point scale, it's a 10-point scale, sometimes a 5-point scale, but they adjust their scale. Now, what they would do is, like Ellis said, they'd have criteria. So let's say they're doing a video game. What's the rank of the graphics? What's the rank of the story? What's the rank of the gameplay? What's the rank? So they'd have these ranks. But then they would say when they give the game an overall score, it would literally say not an average, meaning that they didn't take those individual criteria and average them together to give you a score for the game, right? And what they want is they want you, even though you look at what the score is, they want you to actually read the article to see why they gave it the score they gave it. They want you to actually pay attention to, because again, the person reviewing it might already like that kind of game or might be a fan of that kind of movie. And so they're probably going to score it a little higher or maybe a little lower because they are a fan of that kind of thing. Rihanna ain't on my scale at all. I could care less.
Mm-hmm.
If you asked me between Rihanna and Beyonce, I'd look at you and say neither. But that's me.
That's me.
That's me.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
cool. But if you did
Right.
say, can you rank them on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm gonna say musically,
No.
not musically, physically,
Yeah.
or mentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? Because
Mhm.
all those things matter to me, and they're
Yeah.
all part of the ranking. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because sometimes I might give a joint a little extra point because I might like they sing a little something something in my ear
Yeah,
right here. I just
exactly.
want you to know. You
Yeah.
understand? Now I'm perfectly capable
Mhm.
of explaining that to Duane. If Duane asks me where my ranking is and why I did it that way.
Mhm.
What we have to do is say to people, not just young people, but the people, period, hey, look, you gotta pick. And if you have to pick, which one? And if based on that, where does one fall? How do you rank one versus the other, leaving everybody else out? Because the other thing that happens with that is they're not just thinking about them. They're not just thinking about the two of them. When somebody says that to you, Wayne, when they say, well, they both 10s, but one's a way better 10. What they're doing is they're throwing in all the other women they can think of, including the one they got to go home to, right? And
Sometimes.
trying to be very careful, right? Because in their head, they can't tell you that one of them is a 10 because if the wrong person catch wind, so and so a 10. So what am I?
Oh God. Yeah.
Now look. My father.
Mm-hmm.
May he rest in peace.
Rest
My
in
father
peace.
told me. My father told me when I was really young. So when I was young, it's a few things you couldn't do. You couldn't. Well, I'm just going to name the one big one. If my
Okay.
father ever asked you something, what do you think about this? What do you want to eat? What are you so and so? What do you whatever? The one thing I was never allowed to say, ever, unless I would get the wrath of, oh my goodness. I was never allowed to say I don't know. Right?
Okay.
So what goes on with a lot of people now is you can tell the people that have been allowed to say I don't know,
Sure.
who get to live in that gray area, who
Yeah.
don't have to commit to something. And here's the deal. If I'm sitting there saying scale of 1 to 10, they don't even have it in them.
Yeah.
Not in them. They want to leave that little space. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be judged. They don't want anybody to pick it apart. And in some cases, when I say pick it apart, they don't want anybody to steal that joy from them that they
Right.
felt when they walked out of that theater or when they put that CD in, and I told my age, or when they streamed the song, a song that album that just came out.
Right.
But they don't want someone to steal that from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it comes from them not being able to commit at some level.
Sure.
At some level. Because like you said, when you do a ranking, because I asked the gentleman that saw the Batman, I said, okay, let's break it down. Fight scenes. What do you rank the fight scenes, the action? He said an 8, right?
Okay.
I said, what about the story? I'd say an 8. I said, what about cinematography? He said, cinematography, I give it a 9. I said, okay. I said, what about the score? What about the soundtrack? What about the music?
Yeah.
He said, probably one of the best ever. I give that a 9. And we went through about 3 other things, three other criteria for the movie. All of them at a level of 8. I said, well, how did we get to 9.5? So as I said, maybe he thought I was going to steal his joy. But once again, this is the same person that took No Way Home from an 8.5 all the way down to a 7. And I'm telling you, and you gentlemen in your travels, I'm pretty sure y'all have talked to a bunch of people, and this same thing has happened to you guys. Mm-hmm. And I don't need to justify my scale to anyone. I think if I say that a movie was a 10, it was a 10 to me. But I guarantee if it was a 10 today, it's gonna be a 10 tomorrow. If it was an 8, it's gonna be an 8 because I'm honest and I'm real. I'm real with you.
Well, you know what though?
But 10. Let me tell you something, Adam.
Yeah.
You saw The Godfather.
Yeah.
It was a 10.
Right.
Or a 9 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it remained that. And as a matter of fact, when you watch The Godfather for the 10th time, I think that if it was at a 9 before, it probably went up to a 9.5 to you. Or it went from a 9.5 to a 10. It didn't do anything but get better.
Right.
But very seldom do you sit on a movie that you said was a 10 or a 9.5 that drops down to a 7.
Okay.
Very seldom.
Okay, no, I hear that. I hear that. Mm-hmm. I do think that it's okay. I think a problem we have nowadays is that we have to make quick decisions all the time. So when I saw The Batman, which I did love, I remember I talked to my brother immediately, and the first thing he did was compare it to The Dark Knight.
Okay.
And I said, well, why? I said, well, but because I felt like this was better than The Dark Knight, and the little Joker scene that was in the little Joker scene that was in it. That Joker was, and I'm like, well, why? Like, why can't The Dark Knight just be The Dark Knight? Like you talked about earlier, like people stealing joy and kind of taking your joy away from you. Well, the problem is you feel like you have to make a quick decision, and you may have come out of a theater and just made a quick decision because you're just full of adrenaline and you're excited and that movie excited you. So it may feel like a 9 at the time. And then when you watch it again, I tell you, when I saw Transformers 1 the first time, damn, that shit was exciting as hell. Then I watched it.
Right.
And I realized,
that joint dope. What you talking about, man? You talking about? Hey, listen, man.
I love that movie. But when I came out of the theater, and listen, all it took is for the one jump to make the little Transformer sound, and I was jumping out of my seat. Yeah. So, so at that time, when if you'd have talked to me as soon as I came out the theater, what did you think of this movie? I was like, man, that thing was a 9. Oh my god! But when I really thought about it, it was not a 9. Now, okay, it was a cool movie. So it's okay to change your mind, but I think the issue is that people feel the need to make quick, rapid decisions on everything, and I think there's nothing wrong with taking a breath.
Scroll culture.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That is the change. I mean, people's attention spans are so different now.
Yes.
Right? Than what they used to be.
Yes.
Even if you look at like when we was kids, if you had a video game to play, that was the joint you had. If you went to Blockbuster on a Friday night to rent a game for the evening, or when they upped it to like 3 days, you could join for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
That was all you played.
Earthworm Jim all weekend.
Right? Now you got Game Pass and whatever, you got 100 games. Listen, my youngest daughter, bro, she don't play nothing until Fortnite came out. She never played anything longer than 10 minutes ever. It used to drive me crazy. I'd be like, hey, play the joint, get into it, figure out what's going, what's the character's names, what happens next, what city they going to, what's going on. They can't. Because their attention spans are just scroll. They go to the next thing and go to the next thing. It's such a thing that everybody has reels, shorts, whatever. They just, here's 6 seconds of video. Watch this joint 100 times in a row.
Alice, you understand social media?
Minutes.
Yeah, Alice understands social media.
I need this to keep happening because I need to make money. So keep that culture happening.
Yeah, I mean, because I work in a field where Gage knows this. I've been in podcasting for almost 15 years now. Yeah, I remember when it first started, it was on internet radio, and everybody wanted to emulate the radio, and it was 3-4 hour shows, and we were just talking, and then all of a sudden, it was an hour-long show, and now people have micro podcasts, and now you better get on that TikTok. Gage, you want to hit me to TikTok. You know what I mean? So we have to adjust, and there's scientific evidence that our attention spans are getting short, and it's not just kids. When I have normal conversation just with people, you can see it. You can see people's minds starting to. So I do think I agree with you. Yeah, it's a scroll culture.
But here's the thing, Duane. When somebody tells you, if you ask somebody when they come out of Spiderman, what's your rank? They say Man, it's an 8.5. Loved it. Joint was fire.
Mhm.
Then you ask them when they come out of the Batman, right? What's your rank for the Batman? And that joint a 9. So then what's your rank for Spider-Man? Like a 7, right? And it drops. And here's why. Because when they come out of Spider-Man, when you ask them, they're comparing Spider-Man to the other Spider-Man films. Maybe they're even comparing them to the other MCU films. But when they come out of Batman, if you ask them after they tell you what they think of Batman, you ask them what they think of Spider-Man, what you're actually asking them is, what do you think of Spider-Man compared to Batman? That's not necessarily the same thing. And the scale can change based on, like Ellis said, the criteria under which they're giving you their 10.
I can't help the fact that they take it and they assume that I'm asking it against whether it's against other Batman films, other Spider-Man films, or anything like that. I only asked them for their scale. One thing, I want to make one point. Adam, you brought up Transformers. Okay. So there's a certain space in the world for game changers, right? So when you came out of Transformers, and this is why you have to separate it, whether we liked it or not. When you came out of Transformers, you said, man, they pulled it off. Right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't know whether they could pull it off. When Ant-Man came out, I watched Ant-Man, I said, man, they pulled it off. Right. Okay, let's go back to the first Christopher Reeve Superman, right? Yeah. And I go back to that, right? Because they pulled it off, right? And let me explain something. There are things that I look at about the first Superman that when I looked at Man of Steel.
Right.
How old are
when
you?
I went,
you said Superman?
Older than me, Ellis. That's all you need.
Christopher Reeves?
Christopher Reeves.
How old are you, sir? Was this a Blu-ray?
I am 48. I'll be 49 in a couple of months.
Oh, but you saw this on film. You saw this on film. Hold on.
Happy early birthday,
I saw Superman in the theater.
Hey,
you saw
let me explain.
Superman 1?
When Superman 1 came out with Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
They pulled it off.
Funny.
Now,
right.
What happens is those movies were game changers. Die Hard 1 was a game changer.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the movies and those are the categories.
Terminator 2.
Like type movies.
Jurassic Park.
Set the scale for those types.
Yeah.
So when you threw Transformers in there, I would ask you to throw a different movie in there because it kind of sways the way we're looking at the category. I mean, what we're talking about. Now you understand, and I understand what you're saying, but
I'm gonna bring it up that I was excited after a film and then realized that the film wasn't as amazing as I felt coming out of the when you're coming out of something. I can come out of a basketball game and feel like I just saw and see a buzzer beater, right? I can see a buzzer beater and feel like I just watched the greatest basketball game ever because I was there and I experienced it. But you're not going to tell me it's greater than, name that, what Dame Lillard did in the playoffs a couple of years ago or whatever. Name that. Oh, God.
It's the honey bird.
Jesus. Maybe I should come up with an example, but I'm just saying, whatever. Name that great NBA moment, okay? Whatever it may be for you, that's not gonna make someone choke and down. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that may be is all I'm trying to say is that, game number 50 during the Wizards season, where it's a game winner doesn't mean anything, but it was exciting in that moment, and that's how Transformers felt. Now that I don't even think about watching Transformers in this moment. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
But the reason why I even came back and I mentioned that to you is because once again, I'm here to save the world. I'm trying to make sure that everybody's setting their scale properly.
Well, but listen, real quick.
Hold on. You said that him bringing Transformers up.
I gotta say this quick. I gotta say something moment. I've been holding this for a minute. I've listened to what you're saying.
Bring it.
All right. I want to touch. There's 3 things I want to touch on. Okay, and please open up your snack. It's in the microphone. So, all right. So, Gage, you remember when I saw No Way Home?
Yeah.
I called you.
You did.
I called you. Gage, what was my favorite movie?
Anything Captain America, bro. Because Captain America is your favorite. That's your guy.
No, this movie, this Shield, Winter Soldier was my favorite movie.
Yeah,
mine too. It was a series.
So it was a serious movie. written well. And I called Gage up and I said, "Hey, I have to let you know that
Don't say it.
I have now seen my new favorite movie, MCU movie." And
Hey, Duane.
and it pained me. And it pained me. Like, this is made. It took me probably 80% of that 15-minute conversation to just say that phrase out.
Yeah.
And the reality is, as time goes on, innovation, things that are made possible that are never feasible, can happen. So to say that, hey, something that ranked a 8 before can't be a 7 because a new standard has been set. It's kind of saying, hey, guess what? I can never accept evolution. Sir, you saw Superman in 1978. I Googled it. I Googled this, sir. I Googled it. Okay, hold on a second.
I saw Star Wars: A New Hope in the theater.
Oh, Man of Steel, 2013. You can tell me whatever you want about this was the best CGI of my life. When Superman flew in 1978, that was the best. That was a 10. And when I saw Man of Steel and he flew from Antarctica, that looked stupid. That didn't look real. That's a 7. Stop it. You're lying to yourself. Okay. No. Let me say why. Okay. I'm a big dude. Okay. And I've been dealing with weight for a long time. Okay. And you know what you do when you try to lose weight? When you want to lose weight, it happens in the kitchen. Okay. Cool. And when you want to lose weight and it happens in the kitchen, what do you typically do? You weigh things on a scale. And when you weigh things on a scale, what do you typically have to do on a scale? You reset it each time. Each time you have to understand, is this grains? Is this protein? What has changed? Is this Beyond Meat? Is this clone meat? Clone meat is real. Don't eat it. But it's like you have to consider these things.
Yeah.
It's just really weird to eat clones. Like it's just weird.
Yeah.
So it's like eating variants. It's like do I go crazy or what? Anyway. But like you have to reset the scale and adjust for changes in the industry of food. So let's keep this 100. If you tell me that Dr. No, that's not fair. I don't want that. James Bond close to my heart. I don't want to do that. I don't want emotions to come out my eyes. So I would say in general, if you can't accept that things can change, you have to understand something continues to change. So example. One of the reasons why Birdman won an Oscar, okay, is because it was able to pull off acting and potentially one of the best cinematography shots of all time, with that one shot going all the way through with hundreds of people all acting. The shot was done before previously, but it wasn't with that many actors at that many times, all in that one shot, doing so many things. So we have to understand that, again, things can change. Whoa, that was an amazing shot. Whoa, they just had 80,000 people keep going and pull off the shot. They pulled the same shot in James Bond. Quantum of Solace, I think.
Quantum of Solace.
And in the very beginning was not as impactful. So we have to understand that again, standards can change as long as you're able and willing to reset your scale each time and accept the fact that you do have to reset a scale. Okay?
How often?
If you don't, bro, each time you turn on the machine because you have a plate, you put the plate on the thing. Listen. This is how you weigh your food. So if you're not weighing your food this way, you got to do it correctly.
So do you reset your scale from Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises?
Actually, I do.
Do you do that?
Watch a movie.
Do you go from Homecoming to what's it? What are the three?
Far From Home to No Way Home.
Do you reset them from that?
Don't be disrespectful. I know you saw Superman 1978. You got a Spiderman movie. Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because Batman Begins to Dark Knight. I mean, those aren't even. I'm not saying which one was a better film, but I'm saying clearly, from cinematography to a million other aspects of that movie, they are light years apart. So, did you reset your scale after Batman Begins to when you watched The Dark Knight?
Each time when I watch a movie of a series or of a genre or whatever it may be, I do sit back and reset. I do sit back and.
But this, if it's the same. So again, because y'all are kind of in the same realm, right? Like Ellis, if you're weighing meat, if you're weighing protein, and you switch to a different protein, do you have to reset the scale for that? Like if you're weighing the same thing, but you're weighing a new piece of it, right? So if it's the same category, you don't have to reset the scale. So again, we're talking about in terms of, like, you can look at, again, the example that was given, the Batman versus Spider-Man, and you can say they're both superhero movies, right? And so you can say, on a scale of superhero movies, where do you put them? But if you just say, on a scale of movies, where do you put them? Your rankings might be different. Because under normal circumstances, if you ask me to give you a ranking for where Spider-Man Far From Home sits on my personal scale of 1 to 10, it's not even on the same scale as Steel Magnolias. They're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, you understand? I'm not weighing those the same way. And in some cases, over the course of time, right, which is what Ellis is saying, you could take a movie like the original Christopher Reeve Superman and what they were able to do at the time and what you witnessed with what they did at the time, right?
Yeah.
Versus what somebody sees for the first time. Because here's the thing. What I don't like about Man of Steel is the thing a lot of people do like about it. This is the first time they was really able to show Superman really doing what he could do and moving as fast as he can and buildings crumbling and all of that, right? And for me, when I watched Man of Steel, I said, they tried to make him look like Goku fighting Vegeta. I hate it. I don't want no parts of this. They're stealing from anime. I don't want nothing to do with it. This is corny. I didn't like it, right? And that's me taking two things that I care about and I love and witnessing what's going on with it and going, I don't like what they did with that. Now, am I saying that one is better than the other? Because if you ask me if I think Man of Steel is better than the original Superman, I will tell you that the original Superman is better than Man of Steel. But I also don't like a lot of other things about that movie. I don't like how dark it is. I don't really like Zack Snyder's work. So anytime it's a Zack Snyder film, chances are it's going to be a lower scale no matter what. Period.
Yeah.
You feel that way?
You're oh, good. I was sorry. No,
I
go
just want, you keep your point. I just wanted to ask really quick whether you two agree with what he said about Zack Snyder's work.
Oh, well,
this has nothing to do with our conversation. Just
this is just
personally.
Nah, I don't have I'm not one of them people that has a problem with Zack Snyder. He's never made a great film in my opinion, but I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, if Zack Snyder made the movie, I'm already coming into it with a bias. I'm not with him. I understand why people feel that way, but like I've never hated. He's never made a film where I'm like, yo, I hate that movie. No, actually, I hate Batman vs Superman. I don't like that movie at all. But other than that, like, but you know, everyone makes a
byproduct of Man of Steel.
Yeah, I know. I don't like Batman vs Superman at all. But I don't have that opinion. Just yo, that is true. Huh? But just to answer the question quickly, no, I'm not that type of person when it comes to Zack Snyder. No, I'm no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Zack Snyder can make a great movie for me.
What's that?
I'm the same boat as Adam. Like I don't hate any director. I'll even watch an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
And to that point,
is one of his movies.
Yo, to that point, that man was on an awful streak until he made, what was the joint he made with oh god, but the Split. Yeah.
Great.
Like when I saw Split, and that's what I'm saying. Like you talk about scales and can the scales change? The Godfather is a 10 to me. That does not mean I'll never see another 10. That does not mean I won't see a movie that's better than The Godfather. Is it? I don't know if I live to see it, but can I? Is it possible? Absolutely.
I guess
so the scale can always change.
at this point it is because all of what we're saying, I personally think is valid.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that Duane's point that people's personal scales are off is
I
right.
agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Because everyone has to hype everything.
I do think though that I think when you ask the question, because you asked it, you should clarify what it is you're looking for from that person.
Yeah.
Because you're asking for feedback based on what you want to hear. So you can't necessarily just say it's not my fault. They assume that this is what I'm asking. Because again, the circumstances under which you ask it, how'd you like the Batman? Oh man, that joint was a 9.5.
Yeah.
So now that that's a 9.5,
okay. So
how do you feel about?
And I'm saying you can't.
Way. So to me, you're personally asking for a comparison.
Yeah, and you can't ask me coming straight out. I'm not sure if you ask these people coming straight out of theater, but like I needed time to digest the Batman. Right. I knew I was excited about Spider-Man, and I felt like I saw the greatest thing ever. And my opinion has not really changed, but I needed time to really. That's just how I am. Like I need time to digest what I saw and really get the hype down, and then go, yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong because you mentioned earlier, the lesson that you got about like not saying I don't know. And I don't know if saying I don't know is particularly wrong. It's just sometimes you don't have the like. I think it's like to give an answer right away can get you jammed up with someone like you, Duane. Like when you're
don't live in that world though. We don't live in that world. All of us have jobs, or all of us have careers, and it's predicated on us. Look, you either gotta know, you gotta have an answer, and sometimes you gotta fake the funk. I'm not a fan of faking the funk, but you just gotta learn the process.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Yes. I don't know about that. Yeah, because I don't know if I'm leading somebody and I'm just giving them directions just because I got to. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Become a better decision maker.
What I'll say is that
no, but you could be a great decision maker, but.
It's learning to do it. It's learning the processes at a faster pace. It's learning to take the information. It's the reason why some people are good quarterbacks and some are not. They are able to see the field and process what's going on at a faster speed.
So right, but they had to learn the playbook and they had to learn, like if you could be Robert Griffin III and pretend like and be out the league in a year.
Yeah.
Okay, or you could be someone else and say, yo, I had to grasp that playbook. I had to get it together. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying. I don't think you're far off. You know what I mean? Like the lesson you received is a good lesson. I'm not fighting the lesson. You know what I mean? I'm saying that I can lie, and then I'm going to be in the same book you're talking about, where my scales are going to be off because I had to give a quick answer.
Right.
Or I can say, you know what? Right now it feels like a 10, but it's probably not a 10. Okay, it's probably not a 10, and I need to understand the scales better.
Valid. Yeah, I think that's valid. Like I think a lot of times,
absolutely,
we come out of something like I've come down. My ranking for the Batman hasn't changed, but I've definitely come down on it because after I saw it the second time and after I actually talked about it, one of my favorite things about going to the movies and seeing a movie, and again, like think about what it felt like when you watched Endgame. But for somebody who watched, I talked to somebody recently who didn't watch Endgame until it was on Disney Plus. So like
not the same.
That what it was like in the theater, bruh.
Yes.
And again, listen, even with that, like what it felt like at the end of Infinity War, when that joint just ended, and people was like,
"Whoa!"
I've never sat in a theater that was just quiet.
That's why I put it above Endgame. For that, that ending, it put it above Endgame for me.
Which is
because it was shocking.
Incredible, but still, if I sit down and I watch Endgame right now. At the end of that movie, when Cap is standing by himself, getting ready to face down Thanos, and he tightens the shield around his arm, right?
Yeah.
And he's ready to do it by himself, and then you get that.
Show it.
Listen, you get that on your left. Bro, I get chills now just thinking about it, and I'm positive that part of the reason why I get those chills is because I can recall what it was like being there in the theater and everybody going ape when it happened.
Gage, you mentioned
can't necessarily take that away.
No, you can't. And you mentioned Black Panther and how we ranked Black Panther, right? And I went on your show twice to talk about Black Panther. Okay, now a lot of what makes me feel the way I feel about Black Panther is outside of the actual film. I remember what it felt, the build up to I remember how we all felt. I remember being in the movie theater and seeing everybody dressed up in African cosplay and being proud. You know what I mean? All of that stuff. You know, when I watch it now on Disney Plus, it does actually now it has a different feeling because Chadwick is gone. And it's I actually agree with that. Yeah, actually, because you get to really, and that's what I'm saying. Like when you coming straight out the theater, it's so many variables that get you so excited. But to your point and the question you asked, yes, scales are off for those very reasons because people feel like they got to give quick responses and they're not afraid to say, I feel good about this thing, but that feeling I have is probably a 7 or an 8, which is a great damn feeling. It doesn't have to be a 10.
Right now, I'm feeling off the scale. I just took my temperature. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be back down to 99 point. You know what I'm saying? 96.8. Let me ask you a question, Duane, and then we're gonna move on. Let me ask you a question.
That's a good ass topic.
When you ask this person about Beyonce versus Rihanna, had he just watched the Savage Fenty Volume 3? And now is she way above Beyonce, bro? Listen, because it's just like coming fresh out the theater. It's just like whoever's the hot thing right now. Like I can remember people being on Halle Berry. I was never a big Halle Berry. Like not like, I mean, she can act, she's okay, but I was never like, oh my goodness, Halle Berry. She never did it for me like that, right? I understand why people are. I get it. I don't think she's ugly in any way. I wouldn't say no. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would not say no.
Right.
No.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'd say yes.
You understand what I'm saying? But listen, if you ask that man, if you say, listen, right now, I got Beyonce behind curtain number 1, and I got Rihanna behind curtain number 2, and you get to choose. You get to pick right now. Right now, real life. If this man says, listen, within earshot of Beyonce, hey, Rihanna, way better. It's not happening. It's not happening. As a matter of fact, he's going to listen. I'm going to tell you what. He's going to think first. Listen, you're going to catch him. He's not going to say, I don't know. Because if he say, I don't know, you're going to be saying, you don't get nobody. So he's going to pick.
He's going to pick somebody, right?
That doesn't mean he's going to always in the back of his mind regret not having made the other choice. And the other thing about the beauty of telling you right now that one of them is way better than the other is technically I can always change my mind. As a matter of fact, when I talk to your brother, I might tell him something different than I told you.
Yeah, for real.
As a matter of fact, when I come on Gage's show, I might say something different than I said to them. Right? Because it's how it is. I'm going to tell you, I'm not a big Rihanna fan. I don't, and that's why I asked you this. And I like her music. You know what I'm saying? I think she's a pretty woman. But she's not like, if you gave me an option of like, who would you pick? I'm not generally going to pick Rihanna. However, after I watched that last Savage Fenty joint, I was like, hey, bruh, there's some things going on I failed to consider.
You dropped Beyonce down to an 8.
Listen, but here's the other thing. I also remember not being into Beyonce the way that people were in. I think Beyonce is far more attractive now at this age than she was when she was young and everybody. I think as she's gotten older, I think she's gone up on the scale. Personally.
Yeah, I actually agree with that 100%. Yeah. She's fine back then, but she looks real good now.
And for real, it also is, do I have to listen to them talk? Because I don't want to hear Beyonce talk.
Don't want to hear it talk.
Ever.
Look, so you said something in the beginning. I know we're about to get off this topic. So you wanted to know, like, did you ask me about my scale? Did you say something about my scale and what made up my scale? I thought you did. If you didn't, we can just skip right past it.
Doesn't matter. Just give it to
go
us.
ahead. No, so I recently 2 nights ago saw my favorite movie of the year. There's going to be no spoilers. There's going to be no spoilers. It was Sonic 2. When I tell you I enjoyed it more than the Batman.
Wow.
Uncharted. Morbius. Well, and then that's pretty much it. Okay. But when you look at a movie from script to acting, enjoyability to the humor, to the casting, to everything, nothing touched it, right? So when I asked said gentleman from earlier about the different elements of the movie, and he said 8. What do you rank it? 9.5. And I thought that was unrealistic. When I do Sonic, I put Sonic comfortably at a 8.5. And you also have to keep in mind, and I heard y'all saying it when I was off camera, about it wasn't easy to beat all of the other video game movies. When I say they knocked it out of the park, they knocked it out of the park.
That's fair.
And listen.
Yeah.
To the gentleman in the back, Ellis, I believe you had your hand raised. Yes, sir.
No, I'm saying I'm not saying anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
Again, did you see it?
No. This is me doing this. I was doing this. I was doing. I have
like you got it.
Yeah. Listen, Ellis, I understand. What I'm saying right now, it probably wouldn't resonate with a lot of people, and I get that.
That's possible
because we're talking about a perfect 10 over here with The Godfather. We're talking about movies that the closest I would put to The Godfather, and you may differ on this, Adam, the movie The Color Purple. I thought that was a almost flawless
That's movie. On my list for sure.
It was almost a flawless movie.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about in every single aspect. You couldn't pick it apart.
Yeah.
When I look at all of the different elements, I build my scale, and I build my scale from the ground up. I think a lot of people build their scales from the top on down. So like I said, I'm not going to hold y'all to, like on this topic. Y'all can go ahead. I'm probably over my time.
Listen, it's cool. We just talking. We just having some good conversation. You know what I mean? Drinking and having a good conversation.
There we go.
Okay, well, I'll keep going. No. Not a question. Not a question, but my last comment. So, Black Panther. It showed up as number 1 Marvel movie on the podcast you did in your scale.
Yeah.
You can't discount things that aided it as well, which was people were riding the high from Black Panther. But if all of you can remember, much in the same way that all the characters disappeared at the end, the scene where Cap said, "I have somewhere we can go," and it showed Wakanda. The way the theater erupted, it erupted. So when you do your show and you're talking about the best Marvel character, the best Marvel movie, the best Marvel, whatever you want to do, it is aided from moments like that. So no matter how anyone wants to break back Black Panther down, when they just showed the city of Wakanda and the way it lit up, that was almost the best Marvel scene of the year.
Bro, let me tell you really quick. I said this to you before, Gage. When I saw that movie, I saw it at the Capitol Boulevard Theater, the Magic Johnson Theater, which is ghetto. Okay.
Good times.
Good times.
Yeah.
All right.
Good times, hood times.
Okay. And I'm in there, and there's all sorts of. I'm talking about when Cap and them show up, and then everybody pops up. I'm sitting next to an older lady who's going. I hear her going. Who is that? Who is that? And I remember thinking, I didn't think nothing of it at the time. Like, well, she can't possibly mean who is Captain America. But to your point, bro, when those boop, when them drums hit and that theater rose, I realized, to your point, there were people that were there only to see. They did not care. They were literally thought they were coming to see Black Panther 2. They were only at the theater. They did not care about the MCU and the storyline.
That's a real hand raise right there.
Yeah, go for
it. Hand raise.
Yes.
The gentleman in the back.
So check this out. I want to say this because you're 100% correct about the fact that it was aided by a couple of things.
Yeah.
My opinion, because I had big issues with Black Panther being an Oscar-nominated movie for Best Picture. Picture. I had problems with that.
Okay,
that's a different topic. Because but one of the bullets was the aid of other films surrounding it.
Sure,
you can't like no other movie has the luxury of having who was not only the Best Picture, they had a luxury of Civil War.
Yeah,
presenting you with "Let Them Come."
Yeah,
right? You remember in the movie? Let them come.
I don't care.
I always say that Civil War is really like people came into
It's
that
the
only
linchpin.
saw Black Panther. They didn't get to even understand why T'Challa was in a better place by the time Black Panther
Yeah.
started, because they didn't see Civil War. So like, if you just go see Black Panther, you just see, oh, my dad died, but I'm straight. I'm happy to see, Nakia. I'm actually in a genuinely good mood. That wouldn't make sense if you didn't see Civil War, where you actually had to see him mourn. And at the end of it, he says, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to go out like Cap and Iron Man. I'm not about to let this grief and this anger dictate the type of king I'm going to be. So you're right. It's definitely, that's why I mentioned like all of the feels I have for Black Panther, why it's on my list, but it's not, it's so many outside circumstances. Absolutely.
That's a real thing though. That is an aspect of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that makes it so much more like watching a good season of television.
Yeah, it's at
you can
all
say
the
this
movies
was
at an
my
unfair
favorite
advantage.
episode of the season, but you don't generally separate the season. You might compare it season to season. The thing about that's why everybody wants a cinematic.
The
universe.
Red Wedding doesn't matter if you haven't seen.
You have to reset
the series,
right. You have to reset. And you can't always reset, because now if you go back and you watch Thor: The Dark World, which for a long time was easily the worst MCU film on almost any ranking report you would go see, it's a much better movie right now in hindsight, with all of the additional knowledge that you have and how important the things that are happening in that movie are. That movie's ranking has shifted. It's changed, and it can, because of the world we live in now. So the circumstances under which people are applying their scales it's happening in a world that didn't exist before. You could say, I'm comparing Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. You could say I'm comparing the Nolan trilogy of Batman films to the Michael Keaton run of Batman films, even if you don't count Clooney and Kilmer and whatever, right? I'm just saying, when you because if you ask me, anytime you bring up a Batman movie, where it falls in the ranking of Batman movies is always on the table for discussion. You can't look at it in a silo. It doesn't work that way. That's not what it is. So listen, I guarantee you that there's something in that person's head that said Rihanna way more, because there's a fantasy that he came up with that he's just decided she's gonna do something that either Beyonce isn't willing to,
because she Caribbean and Beyonce from Houston,
and that's
naked all the time.
He can't give you that decision in a silo.
Yes, nothing works in the silo. It doesn't work like that. Life don't work like that.
We don't live in a silo, just like you said.
Exactly.
We don't have the option of gray. Everything is gray.
Right.
We decide black and white. Everything is gray.
Ooh,
your scale shouldn't be gray.
Put it on Twitter.
Listen.
Well, I'm sorry. Your scale should be gray, because you should be able to. They're always
decide black.
Always going to be
or white.
Yeah.
However, in order for them to be balanced, it has to be gray.
Yeah.
Right. And when you start throwing all the different things that are factors into a person's decision making, which specifically for you, Duane, is the way your father probably would have whooped you if you said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes, you right now want to whoop some youngins because you feel like their scale is off because you was taught.
The psychological.
You was taught make a decision and live by it.
It's more serious for me than it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, you was taught.
That's a different thing.
But the truth is, the Jedi and the Sith were wrong, Ellis.
I mean,
that's why they got grades.
But the issue is this, right? If you don't watch the Clone Wars, you don't know about that fact.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. You gotta watch it all. You gotta take it all in, right? And that will affect everything else.
The Batman will be on HBO Max next week.
Yes.
I would like to see the difference between people's opinions of it once they watch it at home as opposed to when they saw it in the theaters, though.
I agree.
I think that mine will probably
that Batmobile scene.
Yeah, mine will shift at some point. Now, I don't think it won't be worse. I doubt it'll be worse, but it'll shift, because I'm telling you, when I came out that theater, I was kind of shook up by that movie. Like, that movie really, I had a hard time trying to figure out how much I really liked it, because it was such a different Batman movie. But that's another topic for another day.
No, for another day. Another day. Like I said, I'd like to have that conversation.
Yeah.
We should do that.
I watched that movie in 40X. So my pick, it was tough, bruh. Everyone was exhausted. I almost blew up my seat twice.
Yeah,
that car chase scene.
Yeah,
yo, I'm telling you,
Worst scene in the movie.
Dude,
Worst scene in the movie.
I almost died.
Yeah,
I almost died.
See?
When the car jumps in the air and does all this stuff.
Oh my God, man!
Bad, bro.
It was foolishness. They threw some foolishness in there.
They did.
Spoiler alert!
They just put it out there.
Spoiler alert! We have to do a scene with the Batmobile.
Y'all didn't like the Batmobile?
There it is. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
What? Oh my God. Okay, yeah, we got to talk. Next time I'm on this show, we got to. I'm almost willing to switch my topic. Oh my God.
You can switch
we got a little theme going. Ellis could go with his.
Okay, Ellis, what you got?
It's not as
That's okay, bro. Just
it was awesome. All right, this is my thing.
That was a
I've been
good
dealing with this as of recent. So I'm in the digital marketing space,
sure,
right? And a lot of folks romanticize social media marketing because I can do it too, and not follow Wendy's. And because Wendy's is the standard for social media, supposed for some reason. And I'm like, I'm like, even someone tells me like Wendy's is a great social media handle, I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I
remember they dropped the mixtape. Remember they dropped the mixtape years ago.
I mean, but the what they do, they use mentions of the brand to retarget ads in front of you for a brand recall, so they can go ahead and move forward. So again, there's a business reason behind it. But I say all this because a lot of folks are in the digital marketing space are pushing back, just like everyone else, against Web 3.0.
Okay,
which is Metaverse, which is NFTs, and so my situation is my company is called Pivotal New Media, right? So new media is ideally using it was what social media was called originally. Okay. New media was what they called it originally, right? And really, the definition of new media is any form of media to help support engagement to go through the next step or whatever, right? So I'm watching this transpire as everyone. I'm watching social change, and I'm watching Bitcoins and Ethereum and blockchain increase. And the reality is, I'm like, I'm 38. I might be a young buck, but guess what? I'm a quote-unquote Zennial who grew up between the internet, between not having a computer everywhere and having all screens all the time. Right. That's what they said. That's the subcategory of millennial I am. I do all this because it's all bullshit. But it's until we put into a textbook, I'm just air quoting it. But it's so there's a ton of pushback from the social media marketing community, where these experts who believe in engagement, making sure building communities, and I'm like, you build communities so people like me, who is a strategist behind you typing these tweets, to actually get them from point A to point B to point C. So it's great you think the communities are important, but it's also about the way of staying ahead of the game and understanding what these new technologies are. So as they eventually evolve to this point, you are ahead of the game. Yeah, you're able to create those strategies that have them.
Are you? I just saw. I had a discussion with my oldest, like a week ago. We were talking about the metaverse. She had no idea. She's like not even, you know what I mean. And she is. You would think she's the target audience, right? She's 23. Right. She's young. College is done. You would think she's the target. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, they like want you to like live. You know what I mean? Like, I listen. I'm not even joking. I had a friend of mine I was having a discussion with the other day who works for a law firm tell me that his law firm purchased real estate.
No, that's
actual real estate
Yeah.
inside the metaverse.
I have friends that are promoting like seminars on how you can buy real estate within the metaverse. I actually and with this one, so there's a lot of people that I work with, both, and so actually I didn't mention I do a podcast for the federal government, and then I also do other that are the metaverse thing, and the NFT in specific is really, they're really enamored with it. They're like, it's all they can talk about. And I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes when people get to talking about this stuff, I get like my eyes just like glass over, and I feel bad about it because I'm wondering, my instincts tell me don't feel bad about that, Adam, because if it were interesting to you, you would pay attention, right? Sure. But on the other end, I feel like, but what if, you see people put out those memes and stuff like of like Bill Gates on like Johnny Carson back in like 93 or whatever, or, maybe not Johnny Carson, whoever, right? Jay Leno, and he's explaining the internet to him, and then Jay Leno goes, "Why don't you just mail a letter?" And and it's like, looking back at it, it's like, ha ha ha, you missed out all these Larry David advertisements for NFTs, whereas Larry David all through history being a cynic, right? And you see these things, so they're doing a good job of trying to make you feel like you're about to miss Twitter. You're about to be the guy that said no to Twitter in 05. You're about to be the guy that said no to social, to getting in on this social web 2 in 1998. You're about to be that guy, but I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Good for you.
Well, I honestly think it's this, right? And I each time I talk to the social media marketing community on Twitter or at a group or whatever, and I say we are acting the exact same way people responded to about our craft and our jobs.
Okay.
When they said that their social media marketing is a thing, that's a thing now. It's been a thing forever. It's been a thing forever. And then people are like, I'm just going to intern to do it. Like, no.
Bro, same thing with this. Same thing with this. At my place of work, I don't mind saying, at my job, they were reaching out to me because I am by far the most experienced podcast person they have there, right? And they were talking about, we want to hire a new podcast person, but we want to hire them part-time, and we want them to cut like 4 hours of video every day, and we want them to also produce the podcast twice a week. And I was like, that's a full-time position. Like, you realize how much work you're asking them to do, but because they're looking at it like, well, no, I mean, it's easy, then they don't appreciate it. So that's why I do think the truth lies in the middle, that there is a change coming to the way we deal with social media and the way we deal with things. But I don't. But I'm not
the old man headshake.
Yeah. But I mean, because change is just going to happen, right? Change is just going to happen. Like, really, if you look at it, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, the birth of social media and then the hiring of positions within social media, like you talk about, Ellis, is a real thing that someone looked back at in 2000, 2001, 2002, or whenever and said, we don't need that. Or as late as like 2012 saying, well, I'll just get the intern to do all the work.
That's you, Wayne?
Oh, he could finish. I was just making sure my hand was up.
Okay.
No. So I'll make my point really quick. But the reason why I say I get confused about it or unsure about it, because I know change is coming, right? I just don't know if the change is going to be as big and drastic as people are making it out to be, specifically with NFTs and buying real estate in the metaverse. That I'm saying, I'm about to make you upset, Duane. I'm saying I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I genuinely mean that. Yeah.
The thing is, you actually do know. That's the problem with it. See, there's a reason why Zaynab has no clue about any of this. It's because when it came to things like cryptocurrencies, when it comes to NFTs and the metaverse, they're not even talking to them. They're trying to get the young rappers and young actors and actresses to talk about it to the young people.
Right.
But only from the standpoint of they want your money and they want your money now. The reason being is because when it came to cryptocurrencies, when it comes to NFTs, and when it comes to all of this stuff, right now, like it or not, they're in the crowdfunding age. And one thing you two said that was exactly true it is change is going to come, right?
Mm-hmm.
Change is going to come. And what they're trying to latch on to are the people that feel like they got left behind in those other segments. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is, because right now, what difference does it make if people are buying up real estate in the metaverse? Like what I mean, what difference does it make? The only time it matters is if on video games, like if you're playing NBA 2K and you can buy some exclusive Jordans, maybe somebody would purchase. Maybe somebody's going to purchase that.
Absolutely.
Something you can't get anywhere. Ralph Lauren is taking up these. Ralph Lauren is taking up.
I'll just.
You okay, buddy?
No, I realized I was saying something. I'm lagging maybe, so I'm like, wait, just no.
You're okay.
No. But what I was saying is they're banking on the fact that that we feel like we missed something.
On social, on YouTube.
The only time, most of the time, I'm ultra skeptical of things is when you keep hearing about it or when they keep talking about it. Because one thing billionaires and millionaires don't do, they don't keep talking about the product. At least at the stages that we would consider the metaverse to be at, or even the cryptocurrencies, as long as they've been around, or any of this other technology, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. The only time they talk about it, think about it. How often do people talk about an idea or ideology of something that isn't fully developed? Or isn't fully implemented, except for when they're trying to take your money. That's all they're doing. They're crowdfunding. When it came to cryptocurrencies, they said, "How do we take something that does not have value and give it value?" Wow, this is what we can do. We'll keep putting it out there and talking about it, and people will put their American dollars into this. And then you know what we'll do? Once the coffers are filled, we'll pull that all out, take it back to the bottom, and tell all these people that missed it the last time, here you go again. This is your opportunity because it went back down. This is when you buy, right? And I know I'm using mostly examples of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but it's the same way. They're not talking to the young people who will actually benefit from this. They're talking to us. Well, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm a fuddy-duddy. Ellis called me out on it earlier. I saw Superman in the theater. I saw the Black Hole. I saw Star Wars: A New Hope.
That's the Black Hole, though.
They're talking to me. So look, you guys can ignore it if you want. They're talking to me. They're trying to get my money, not you guys.
So let me say this. Let me say this quick.
Sure.
I want to respond to that. Okay. I want to tell you that you're wrong.
You want to tell me, but are you going to tell me that?
and what I want to do is tell you you are 1,000% wrong. Now, the reason why you are 1,000% wrong, and this is the reason why I would say certain things failed with other technologies. I'm going to say 3D TVs at home, other things like that, is because of the misunderstanding of what Web3 is. And also so right now, Zaina, she's at the age. Sorry, am I supposed to?
You're fine.
Not say names. Okay, cool. You see your daughter. I was like, okay, hold on.
I thought about that
on the last episode.
Yeah,
it's fine. It don't matter.
All right, cool. My bad. All right. So I was like, oh no, cut this up. So the idea is that you're aiming toward people with buying power, right? And the reason why you're not it, because you're at that barrier. You're at that line where you have buying power, but it doesn't really matter to you. So when it comes to a situation of who it's really being aimed at, it's really that late 25er to late 30, early 40 person.
Right.
It's a really specific line. And the problem is discussion and narrative, which I've learned, unfortunately, that narrative rules everything, right?
It does.
Especially the beginning stages.
Look, I'm a journalist, and that is life. Narrative rules the world.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's I learned that at doing government contracting comms and helping people understand why the president at the time made sense to stand in front of a woman. But anyway, 3 steps. It was 3 steps, no more than that. But it's the reason is the issue we're running into is what is metaverse, what is perceived to be metaverse, what's the benefit of technology, and how it's being used. So if we say, hey, that don't mean nothing to me, I don't need. So I would go back to the TVs. I don't need a 3D TV in my house.
Right.
I'll take a flat screen. I don't need active glasses in my house. I just need a TV.
Right.
Now you're talking about metaverse. And the phase that we're in for Web 3.0 is legitimately a mirror of Web 2.0, which is GeoCities, which is it's even before that. We're looking at AOL. We're looking at super early to the point where what I call the Wild Wild West
chat rooms
the definitions aren't even established. Earlier, Gage was talking about artists who Renaissance. In reality, it's not. Like their art is necessary, but they don't realize the big picture, and then right now the picture isn't fully fleshed.
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is that right now we're such at an early stage that we don't understand fully target demos for the phase that we're walking into. Also, who controls this quote unquote metaverse? And then also is crypto the focus, or is the security around the blockchain the biggest focus?
Blockchain. Right. So that's why I get nervous. I'm not nervous about Web 3, right? I'm in the the content business. I'm in the journalism business. The way it even impacts the way I know change is coming, because the way we deliver news and the way content is being delivered has changed. I also look at my 8-year-old son who's on, I keep joking about Roblox, but like everything we're talking about, like we gave him money this year for his birthday so he could buy a bunch of stuff in his little, in the metaverse, virtually. Basically, right? So virtually. I get virtually. So I understand that
you gave him real dollars
to turn virtual,
Roblox,
so he can buy.
Yes, he bought Robux.
Yes, and so that's what I'm saying. I'm not. Well, my fear isn't it? My concern or fear, whatever, is not with the technology. It's with the man trying to sell me it as an expert. Is my problem. The person that tells me, I know you need to do this, you need to do that. And so, Duane, that's why I see what you're saying, where it's like you can't tell me that you got $1 billion idea when you can't even you haven't even made it yourself. Sounds Ponzi-ish to me. Yes, but the technology, I know technology does nothing but expand. So it is possible that someone could miss out on something because they were a little too just cautious or just didn't believe your Larry David in that commercial. But what is it that we're going to miss out? And Alice, I guess you're saying like we just don't know yet. But something, help me if I'm wrong. We don't know yet, but it's possible someone's going to miss out on something because the change is coming.
Yeah, and I think it's with the peers that I have in this marketing space, the concern, because I came into the industry like late. I went back to school, got my degree, did all this stuff, and I'm like, I came to the mindset like I need to hustle. I need to catch up on the 10 years that you guys have been working now. Right. And it's like I'm watching them, and I'm like, I had to come into this with open mind, like into what is now. And I'm like 3.0. I'm like, I'm supposed to be. I need to make sure my family can eat for the next couple of years.
Yes,
so
yes.
At what point are they dismissing? But then I tell them the people, social media marketing world, the biggest social media marketing conference in the world. No joke. Before the pandemic, it was the last quote unquote, it was a joke conference before the pandemic hit. Everyone went. I was there. I might have got COVID too. Doesn't matter. The guy who runs it, the guy who runs social media marketing world.
Yeah.
No one said anything until I called it out. Why do you have an ETH not ETH after your display name on Twitter? Well, I'm going all in on blockchain and Web 3.0. Content Marketing Institute. Same thing. Guy who's running that, same thing. The one of my friends who's an author on how to unmarket. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, your profile looks different. Oh, I've been leveraging Web 3.0 and converting what I know about Web 2.0 in the 3.0 space. And I'm like, it's not like they're going all in, but they're adopting what they already know to prepare themselves.
Right.
And I'm like, I can push back as much as possible, right? But in order for me, because I'm trying to goodness to win. Like I'm trying to goodness to win. And it's not like win like I'm gonna make $1 million, but like be relevant in the space.
You don't want to be left behind. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, folks, we gotta stay open-minded, because if you don't stay open-minded, we're not gonna be able to say, because I told every social media marketer during we had like a little panel thing. I was like, hey, at the conference, if you guys haven't been to the Google Analytics session, you're missing out and you will lose your jobs. That's what I said on the mic, because you can't show ROI on social without Google Analytics.
Right. That's a fact. Right.
And it's like, God, we have to be able to move forward, and we're so much put back and change.
Yo,
that I'm like,
there was a time. Oh, sorry, Gage, my bad. Go ahead.
No. I want to say that I think all of you are right. That's the thing about this.
Yeah.
That I think is so confusing for so many people. Is that all of you are right. So for me, the takeaway is this is going to happen, regardless of whether you like it or not. It is going to happen whether you think you're on the train or not. Okay? It's going to happen. And it's just a matter of how long it takes. Most of the time, to get most people on board, it is exactly what you're talking about, Ellis, or exactly what you said, Adam, when it comes to making people understand what it is that's happening. What does that actually mean? There are people who right now still don't understand what it means to have a web domain.
Yeah.
What it means, what an IP address is. They know what an address is, but don't know what an IP address is, right? And technology involved in a way that they just will do it for you. Here's a router, just plug it in. Just plug it in and it'll do it, right? And here's the thing about that. Half of them can't just plug it in.
Right. Yeah.
They need a person to come plug the joint in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Pivotal new media. Right.
Listen, yeah.
I'm hiding the check because I want you to check.
Ellis and I know each other from working in a space where we sold technology to people. I sold 3D TVs to people. I hyped people on what it was, how it works, you know. And listen, for anybody that said, I don't need that in my house, nobody who said that was wrong. That doesn't mean they weren't missing out. Right? You still missed something. Now listen, the thing you missed, would it have made your life better? Probably not. Might it have made it more exciting? Probably so. Here's what I know. There are companies that make the decisions about what happens for the rest of us, regardless of what the rest of us think are the right thing. Case in point. The first Xbox. Microsoft put a hard drive in it, made it a computer, put an Ethernet port on the back of it. And people were like, that's stupid. Nobody even has an Ethernet port. Nobody knows what that is. We're still using regular phone lines to do internet. They were ahead of the game.
Yeah.
They are in control of those kinds of things. They have the kind of money, and they are working with and talking to the kind of people who implement those things. These are the people who run Windows. We're putting in the software so that the computers that you build, the hardware you make, will take advantage of the software we give you.
Yeah.
Period. You'll do what we say. That's how it works, right? If you move forward to what happened with the Xbox One, they came out and TV tuners, and people were like, when they switched, and they were like, there's going to be DRM and, you know, all this because everything's going digital. We're going big hard drives. People are like, that's crazy. PlayStation said, here, just share your games. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you bought physical media?
Right.
Because they were right. They were doing it anyway.
Duane joked earlier about a CD.
A CD.
Right? Your brother, Gage, I remember your brother had a mini disc player in his car.
I had a mini disc.
You did too. Both of y'all did.
Yeah.
And this was in 1999. Okay.
Yes.
And I remember thinking,
further correction, his brother's mini disc player was my mini disc player.
Word up. Word up. I love it. See, we all connected in some way. Because look,
it's beautiful. Well, I can't say it was mine. It was once mine.
Hey, listen. Right. Well, your former mini disc player in his brother's car in 1999 was blowing my mind. Okay, because and I was thinking, I remember I was like, God damn, this is what music. Now, mind you, that didn't last. And then, you know, people had all sorts of different MP3 players came around, but then the iPod came around, and then boom, it was amazing. That's my point. When I heard the music, I remember going like, wow. So to Gage's point, change just comes in the smallest and largest form. Listen, at one point, I felt like the world's most foremost expert on podcasting and everything. And then, Gage, you were on my show about a year ago, and you hit me to this platform. You hit me to TikTok, all this stuff. And I could have been stubborn and said, man, I already know what I'm doing, bro. I put my stuff on iTunes. I mean, I'm on iTunes, podcast, and all the blah, 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 and I'm good. But you showed me a way. You showed me what the future, what really not even the future, the now was. So when I talk about not wanting, when I talk about people talking about metaverse, and I have this habit to zone out, I don't want to do that because I want to.
Here's what I think the difference is.
I don't want to miss. You know what I mean? Yeah.
These decisions are being made with or without you. The difference between now and the past is that they are being made with the door open. It used to happen all behind closed doors and you didn't know. Social media, where Ellis is making it so you are constantly hearing about NFTs and about blockchain and about Bitcoin and about Dogecoin. And people are talking about it, and they're talking about it in spaces so that you hear it, right? Yeah. And that is, should they figure people are hearing about it, they're kind of hip, they know it's coming, so when it comes, it won't be so jarring. It won't be such a big deal. It might not be so bad. But what's happening instead is it's making people afraid because they're hearing it, but they can't get a grasp of what it really is, how it works, what it means, right? When I would tell somebody, listen, look, you know how frustrating it is for me to this day to walk into a home and somebody had a TV on and that joint ain't in HD? And they watch that joint like they happy. And I be trying to destroy their happiness. And I'm so wrong. And I be like, how can you be happy
and you're
watching 480 lines of progressive scan when your television offers you 4,000 lines? Like, what's wrong?
It's right there for you. It's right there for you.
Or you could just hit a button and it's there. Like, and they just like, but it works. And I'm getting the news. And they right. It's just delivering the same information. Yeah. Right? But it's doing it for me in a way that is more visually appealing, which matters to the way that I consume content. Right? I'm an audiophile. So it does matter to me. Like, I'm this close to switching over the title because they like, we got hot. Like, listen, Apple Music sounds better than Spotify. The quality of the audio is better.
Especially the new Lucy joint.
Versus the other, the same song.
Yeah.
Apple's joint sounds better. And
Tidal is pushing it like in the past.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's 6 months. The best thing I'm that guy that was like, yo, you never heard beats? You need beats. I was selling beats left and right. Bro, listen, there was a whole phase. Listen, Elliot, you remember, because you know, I was that guy that literally, when them joints showed up for the first time in our store, I saw them joints and I said, give me them joints. I'm about to open and listen to them. If they sound
I
anything
love
like
them.
they say they're gonna sound like,
Yeah.
I'm buying them on the spot. $350. I don't care. I'm buying them on the spot. I
Didn't
put
you
them
wear
on and
them?
it changed my life.
Didn't you wear them as your uniform too? At one point, weren't you
It was
wearing them
part of,
like all the
yeah.
time?
I had listen. I implemented that as a
I
thing
love
at
them.
Best Buy and had people walking around with them on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Sell these joints. Listen, I would tell people, listen, look, I know you came in for the bows, bro. Let me help you. Go to your car, get your phone, bring it in here. Pick your favorite song, a song you've heard 1,000 times. And I guarantee you, when I plug this headset into your phone, you know, back when they still had headphone jacks, when I plug this headset into your phone, you're going to hear things in music you've heard 1,000 times you never heard before. And as a person who was in and out of studios, listening to people make beats and EQ stuff, I know what it sounds like in the studio versus what it sounds like in your car versus what it sounds like on your headphones. And I know that the idea behind beats was so that you would get all that information they were trying to send you, right? And I would watch people's faces go, oh my God, I never heard it. Why does it sound like it's back here? Bro, because it is, bro.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted for you. You understand what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah.
like, all of this stuff, Web3, NFTs, the metaverse, right now, they're looking for people who can do for it what I was doing for beats with people in the store. Show them.
Right.
Teach
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Give them a way of
They already have
understanding
those people.
that works.
They already have those people. They need your money.
Well, you're right. No, you're right.
So one thing about it is we talked about, he said CDs, and we talked about mini disc, and we went to, you know, we can go from Betamax to Laserdisc to VHS, and we can go on and so forth and so on. Now, one thing we do know is that times are actually changing faster.
Yes.
Right? Faster than before me and faster since me. And our kids, you know, if you think about how quickly new devices come out now, it's just crazy.
Right.
Now,
Right. There's also less resistance.
You were talking about your son and Robux and all that kind of stuff. See, they are trying to get our money because we're early investors, and they are already training the people that will implement all of these things, which are our children. So our children aren't used to spending dollars; they're used to spending Robux.
Yes.
Right.
It's an easy translation to Bitcoin or Ethereum or Ripple or whatever other coin you're going to use. They're already changing the sneakers and the clothes and all of their games and all of their world. So what happens is the equivalent of our parents saying, how do I check the weather on this phone? Or how do you so-and-so? You know, right now, that is what will become to our children.
Yeah.
How do
I buy this thing? Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So the only thing, and don't get me wrong, Ellis, I'm not discounting anything you're saying or anything Adam's saying or anything anybody on here is saying, because like Gage said, everybody here is right. Everybody is here is right. Some more than others, but everybody here is correct. No, I'm just joking. But no, everybody here is right. But I try not to be disillusioned by certain things. Like I said, when you keep hearing something, they're playing it. It's like so that it sticks, and so that you feel like you're lost, and so you feel like you're missing the boat. That's the reason why they're doing it. If they weren't trying to hypnotize you, if they weren't trying to grab you and pull you in, one thing about it is, if you start seeing them advertise something on social media, that is the time to not invest in it. And I think any investor would tell you that. Not any influencer, not any social media guy, not any so and so. That's when you don't go into it. That's when you run from it. Typically, if you look at social media and you look at the cycle when they are talking about cryptocurrencies the most, you'll typically see that within a month after you see that big advertisement campaign is exactly when it starts to tank. You know what I mean? So when I start hearing about NFTs, when I start hearing about all of these changes coming, like I said, I'm not saying I do an about face, and maybe I put something in it, a little something. Maybe I try to find a little niche or somewhere, but the major players, the 1% is always going to be the 1%. You know what I mean? It's always going to be the 1%. Yeah. What's going to change? What's going to change is the maybe the next 30th percentile. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe that changes, and maybe you find ways to make a couple more people thousandaires. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe a couple of them stretch and become millionaires and multimillionaires. But like I said,
things like this are never the kinds of everybody can't get rich. Mm-hmm. That's not how anything works. Everybody can't get rich. Anything. Is there a fear that you might miss the boat? Yes, but it's no different than when they advertise the lottery.
Yeah. So here's the reason why I'm it's tough, because when I hear people talk about NFTs or crypto or blockchain, I'm crypto. Take crypto. So when I hear everyone talk about NFTs or blockchain, I hear them talk about investments.
Sure.
And the reality is, the application of it is not investment based. The number of NFT products that exist should be looked at as the number of small businesses that start up.
Sure.
So it's really the same rate. How many live, how many succeed. And we know that that's a high rate of small businesses do not succeed.
Correct.
Right.
So the reason why, again, one, this is probably the only time I've done homework where I don't want to do homework. Like, I'm not even getting grades because I'm trying my best to. Again, I'm trying to eat. I'm trying to make sure that I did not waste time doing what I did in the digital space to go away.
And you did.
Right.
And
you did.
And what Gage said is the thing I actually do believe. And he said that is ran by a couple of people. Mm-hmm. And it's not about the crypto or the investments. It's about the blockchain technology behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the day that this whole thing blows up is the day that Apple announces their new AR glasses.
Yeah.
The day that Google announces their AR glasses. That's when this becomes a reality.
In beta and aren't
Bro.
Right. Like Facebook has been testing theirs for 7 months. And you know the reason why they won't release theirs?
It's not ready.
Because they're Facebook. No one's when they find out
no one trusts them.
Glasses, no one trusts them.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like once you start, like Gage said, there was one thing you told me when I first started at Best Buy, and you said, Ellis, what was the first DVD player you had in your home? And I was like, I think it was a PlayStation. Right. Everyone had a play. Everyone who had a DVD player in their home had a PlayStation. Everything's pushed by specific companies. And as I grew in this space, now I'm in development. Now I'm in doing web, because again, I can't offer social services and not be able to prove my worth without Google Analytics, which means I need to be able to do web development and also advertising. So I do all that now, right? And I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm at the mercy of certain companies. And the reality is that, like, I can't buy real estate on the metaverse until I know where everyone's going. And that's only going to happen when Google, the people who own our phones, the most precious technology we own, make a decision.
That's real.
You know, you seen, so you mentioned this, right? Apple. And I said this to my wife, the movie Swan Song with Mahershala Ali, right? And it's based in the not so distant future. I'll tell you what year it is, but all of them, he has contact lenses where basically he has wireless internet. He has Wi-Fi in the glasses you're talking about, but he's gone a step further. It's contact. This movie is produced by Apple and is streamed on their platform. I said to my wife, they're letting you know what's coming. They're telling you that's next, because years ago, if we would have believed that all our information, well, I don't have my Apple Watch on that, but all our information would have been in our watch, our phone, and we have these tiny earbuds that some of you have on right now. These tiny earbuds that we could just go, Siri, call so-and-so. Hey, call this. Hey, what's the weather? This, that, and another. And that's what he was doing with his that's coming. And so you're right. It's controlled by certain. You're right. We can't make a move until I know, is it going to be Google? Google tried the glasses a couple years ago. It didn't catch on. Is it going to be Google? Is it going to be Apple? Like you said, whoever, then we'll know when the money needs to be. And that goes to Duane's point. It ain't gonna be no Facebook not gonna be begging you to invest in their glasses technology. Google's not gonna be begging you to invest in this. Apple's not gonna beg you. They're just gonna tell you, hey,
this is what it is.
You better get this, or your phone ain't gonna work right.
This is what there's gonna listen. Yeah. Right. There's gonna come a time, right?
Yeah.
Where you are. Look, just listen. In the exact same way that in the early 2000s, even the late 90s and further, you shouldn't or couldn't exist as a business or a small business without a website.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a website, I'm not even listening to you. We're not even talking. What do you mean? And it's the same way now. What do you mean you don't have a Twitter? What do you mean you don't have an Instagram? What do you mean you don't have a Facebook? What do you mean you don't have a, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not doing those things, if you don't have those kinds of, there was a time when all of that seemed foreign and was crazy and whatever, and it still is foreign to a lot of people that have a lot of businesses, right? There's going to come a time where if you don't have an address in the metaverse, you won't be able to successfully continue to run your business. Yeah. There will be a time where we won't, the way we're doing this over the internet now, we will do this in a virtual space where it will look like we're actually sitting together instead of just being on a screen sitting together, and we can have an audience, right? And people can sit and watch it. And the truth is, it can be done now. It is being done now.
Well, look how far we've come, Gage. We joked about when you were on my show about a year ago, and this is the heart of the pandemic. And I even stood up and showed y'all my shorts and everything because we had a good laugh about that. Because we were saying if this were a year ago, so if this was 2020, we were talking about if this was 2019, 2018, I would have been at your house. Well, you would have had to come over here. We wouldn't even. We had the technology to do it, obviously, but we wouldn't even have thought
we didn't use it.
Let's do it now. Look at us. You're talking about virtually. This is virtually. You know what I mean? It's just
now we don't want to go back.
Now we don't. Why would we go back?
We don't want to go back. People like, I'm not going back to work. Listen, they trying to
done with this. I'm gonna go downstairs and grab something to eat. Yeah,
I've been working in my pajamas.
My man's is drinking bourbons by the glass.
I've been eating Eggos during my meetings with my camera turned off.
Yeah,
I'm still getting the job done. Like, I don't need to go nowhere.
Yeah,
gas prices is too high.
Yeah, I'm running a whole.
If you listen to me, and when I listen, here's the thing. Yeah, y'all have to understand. Let me just put something out there. I love a good conspiracy theory. I'm an ultimate conspiracy theorist. If you think for a brief moment that I'm not blaming the people who want you to be virtually in their world for pushing gas prices up, so you don't want to go nowhere.
Just as soon as we was just about to start going back,
you have that money to spend on the next service that they have to offer you. Everybody, listen to me. Y'all know Amazon just bought MGM, right? They got all them Bond movies. They got all of that, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, we all in Maryland. Y'all know they can close down the movie theater in I'm sorry, that's right. I'm sorry. We're all from Maryland. King of Prussia. Philly.
Hey, word
Philly,
up. I'm in DC, but yeah. I'm in DC.
Y'all know they about to close the movie theater at Annapolis Mall?
What?
No, but that's not surprising. Yeah, I didn't know that at all, but that's not surprising.
Today, they about to shut that joint down.
Years. Wow.
Right?
Well, yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do with all that space up there, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
The mall operates on a weekly basis on Sunday hours. They open from like 10 to 8.
Yeah, bro.
But the mall is selling. The mall is selling now. They announced that yesterday or the day before yesterday.
The mall what?
He said it's selling.
It's up for sale.
I can believe
malls. Malls are dying. So here comes Mr. Sneakerhead.
So look, now, right? So now, you already do most of your purchases online anyway.
I was just about to say the malls are dying. Like you can't walk in the store and just pick this up. Nike made it that way. Nike announced just a couple months ago that Foot Locker, you about to get about a quarter of what we used to give you. Everybody thought they were taking all their products out of Foot Locker. That wasn't necessarily true. You still had the sweatsuits and stuff like that, but like these ain't showing up in your store no more. You best to use the app. You got to use the Nike app in order to get this because it's a waste of money for me to be putting on my product in the store that no one's going to.
Listen, they said they shutting down E3. I've been a fan of E3 for as long as I can. I'm gonna tell you
That's
what,
a
they
shame.
canceled it this year. They said, we'll be back next year. They're not coming back next year. And you know why? Because it doesn't make sense for all of these companies that sell you video games to go to a physical place to try to convince people to put their games inside of a store. That was what the purpose of E3 was originally.
Right.
It was a sales meeting to say, hey, Sears, where are they? Right? Hey, Best Buy. Hey, GameStop.
Yeah.
These are going to be the hot games this holiday. You need to order a bunch of them. That doesn't matter anymore because they can do everything virtually. People just watch it from home. They don't need to go there to do it. So the things that we choose to get together for won't be what they used to be.
Right.
It won't be that. It'll be us getting together because we want to have some kind of close contact with people in an environment where people love the same thing. And I'm telling you what, as much as I go to comic book conventions, and like I said, it's a bar crawl this weekend that I'm helping to host. You know what I mean? It's a nerd bar crawl, right? And that's what they do. Right? It's people, they come, they drink, and it's Harry Potter, and it's wrestling, and it's Marvel, and it's DC, and it's Game of Thrones, and it's incredible. It's always incredible. You know what I'm saying? From 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock in the afternoon, people are just drinking and having a good time, and we playing games and doing trivia and whatever. And at 9 o'clock, that's when the after party starts. You think anybody goes home at 9 o'clock? No. They stay. But the minute they tell you, part of what's great about it is you know that you're in a place where everybody's there because they love the same kind of stuff you love. That's what makes these conventions so great, right? But the minute they tell you that you can do that virtually and you're still in a space where it's all people that still love the same thing you love, and you're still getting to talk to all of these people as you move around that space, even if you do it virtually, they won't go. They won't get on planes and go. They're not going to get on buses and go. They're not going to drive. They're not. They're going to find other reasons to get together if they can get together. You understand what I'm saying? That's the reality of what it is, because people are learning to replace the physical contact with the mental contact of, I just talked to someone. I was just with him. No, you weren't.
Right.
But I was. Right?
So
it feels the same. That's part of what it is. It's coming whether you want it or not. Coming whether you want it or not.
You're right.
Change is coming no matter what. That's a fact. Some form of change.
We're not making that decision.
Yeah, and we're not making a decision. That's real.
You know
That's real.
There will be people who will make insane amounts of money by being the only people who put together in-person events.
Yeah.
It's gonna it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Right now, there are people like, yo, I ain't been out the house in 2 years. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Then they get out, they don't know how to act.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's real.
Yeah,
that's real.
So if you look at the gambling industry, if you look at casinos, casinos are exceeding their profits. They exceed what they were making pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And like by a long shot, people are just starving to be back out. Now, you said something about conspiracy theories, and this is off the topic. And you say the gas prices from the people that want you to stay home. What about and I won't go too far into conspiracy, and I don't believe this, but creating a pandemic to conveniently test market all of these things.
Oh man.
Where
that bourbon at? I need that. Where that bourbon at?
Well, I said, wait. I didn't say I believe this.
No, yeah,
I didn't say I along with that. I am saying if we're going to say the gas portion of it, what makes the rest of it unrealistic? Except the death.
The only difference I would give you in that is because it's not killing people, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? To make gas price. Because again, look, inflation is controlled by the people with the money anyway. Like prices going up and going down. If you look at what's happening with GameStop or whatever, they just like, GameStop is a terrible place to go and to shop. They should have been closed a long time ago. They exist because somebody said, you know what? Let's mess with them. Let's just see what happens. And they did. Right? But realistically, GameStop should already be gone.
Yeah.
And that's not even just because of digital. That's because other companies like Target and Best Buy and Walmart, where people can go and conveniently get everything, right? And which is, you have to understand that they tried to keep Walmarts out of certain areas, right? Like they were going to build a Walmart up. People were like, no, you can't have a Walmart here, right? Because it takes business away from other smaller businesses and stuff like that, because people will go where they can conveniently do everything at once. What you have to understand is that Walmart is literally the physical manifestation of the internet. You can go there and get everything all at once. You don't have to go anywhere.
It's like that Dave Chappelle sketch. He's going to the internet.
That's what it is. I live in a world where, like, my kids don't even try on clothes. I hated trying on clothes. They don't try on clothes. They order them. Don't fit. Send it back.
Or throw it away and buy and pay again. Pay twice. Yeah.
And just to that pandemic point, I think companies definitely took advantage of the pandemic and adjusted very quickly, but I don't think it was ideal for them at first, because you could tell by how there was a panic, especially how the United States reacted to the pandemic as opposed to somewhere like New Zealand, where the United States was. See, we live in the Northeast or the Southeast and in metropolitan areas, probably blue states or mostly blue states, where people reacted a certain way to the pandemic here. We all wore masks and that. In the middle of the country or certain places, they were fighting that thing tooth and nail, and not just the regular Joe Blow. We talking about the politician was fighting it, and they were saying we
internet bad too.
Huh?
In the middle of the country, they internet bad too.
Yeah, facts. But I'm just I'm saying, but just
like we need 5G. We need 5G just for them to get on board with what the rest of us do.
No, listen again. I cover
everything digital.
I cover federal news, and the biggest thing about the federal government was that they were completely unprepared for the pandemic. Things you think were like, you bringing up internet and all, things you think were just simple, well, just let people work from home. They had to get all these security clearances and Ellis, you know about this. Like, there were so many roadblocks for people. They were not prepared, and they were very much anxious to get people back to work. And so when people talk about, now I know you said you don't believe it, Duane, so I'm not saying it to you, but when people talk about, no, people didn't want this at all, but certain smart industries were able to look at it and go, well, how can I take advantage? And that's just what smart people do. How can I take advantage of the situation? But it was not ideal for the United States, for the entirety of the United States, to work from home. That's why you had the president of the United States at the time, as silly as he was, trying to end that pandemic every moment.
It shifted the way I do all of what I do.
Yes. Right. But we live in a bubble where we live in states where people reacted to the. I had family come in town from New England, I think, from New England area. I can't remember where exactly, but they came in town, and I remember this was like, the summer, and we're like, wow, everybody wears a mask down here, and we were surprised, because we were like, yo, that's just what we do here.
Trying to live.
We went to Georgia last February, and this was before the vaccine was even readily available. Okay.
Right.
And you would have thought it looked like today. Like, people was walking around in Georgia like, whatever. Like, I ain't worried. So I don't know. I don't think it was a conspiracy to start it, but I definitely think that people took advantage of it smartly. And that's why we are in the situation we are now. And you better get with it or not.
Hey, I want to jump to a new topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a topic. Ellis, unless you just listen, this was your topic, so if you get the final word. You know what I mean?
I get the final word.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess I don't want to end on the COVID. So
that's fine.
Good.
Though I will say that it definitely wasn't on purpose, because I worked for a government contractor for the government, and they were like, "Oh, you want to work anyway? Well, I'm going to work anyway. Here's a note. You don't follow rules. Here's a note. If they pull you over, show them to let you go." What?
I had the same note.
Digital marketing. I don't need to be anywhere. I need a laptop. But I do want to say, at the end of the day, when it comes to this metaverse and this 3.0 and all this stuff, and like what the pandemic helped, I feel like it escalated things quickly with 3.0, like to the point where I'm on my second Oculus, right?
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I got on it. We were Horizon beta users, so I'm like, when Gage was like, hey, you weren't really hanging out with them. I'm like, no. I'm telling you, when I put this headset on, when they came too close to me, I'm with them, and I'm like, yo, or we talking and we rapping for a couple of hours, or we're at the concert watching this thing happen.
Right.
But it was, but by me beta testing that, it made me realize, unless it's a place of mass or a place or an organization that can do it at scale, the individuals who are out there who are teaching or doing these things, and when it comes to the Wild Wild West, it comes with consequences of bad actors in the Wild Wild West.
All the time.
So you have so those who are taking money, who are making you investments now, they're the shyster ones. They're the ones who the sheriff is trying to lock up. It just we're just in a weird space right now, and I'm like, I think at the end of the day, open minds will, if it fails or succeeds, those open minds will be ahead of the game, as long as they stay open and be aware of what trends are happening. So I'm done. That's what I gotta say.
I would agree with that. I dig it.
I got no
Hey,
more bourbon.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
No more bourbon. You all water.
No,
water.
It's on the ice.
Gone.
Yeah, she hasn't come
Adam,
back
man,
yet.
listen. Are you ready to go on your topic, or should I jump on mine? What do you want to do? You ready to go?
I mean, it's whatever. I can go, but if you want to jump in there, I don't.
Man, you go ahead, man. Do it. You know, I'm always gonna put my guests ahead of myself.
So this is a total 180 from what we were talking about, but it is similar to what we started the show with, right? When we were really talking about film. We talked about the scale thing, but really we talked about film. And coming off the Oscars last week, I'm not talking about Will Smith, but coming off the Oscars last week, one thing I kept hearing people say is, well, damn, I didn't even see it live. Well, damn, I don't even watch the Oscars, right? Which made me think about film. And even in this conversation, we talk about a lot of the MCU and this, that, and another. Like whenever we talk about our favorite movie is a comic book movie, and I don't even like to usually classify film this way, but it makes me wonder. It's a two-parter. Is prestige movies, do they still matter? And do people still watch prestige movies, right? And what is a prestige movie, right? So if you look at the movies that were nominated for the Oscar this year, right? Movies that were nominated for the Oscar.
For movie of the year.
Yes, movie of the year. You have best picture of the year. You have Belfast, you have Coda, you have Don't Look Up, you have Drive My Car, you have Dune, you have King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. How many of the movies have you seen?
All of them.
You've seen all of them. Yeah. Word up, by the way.
The only one I remember out of the ridiculous number of joints you mentioned.
Yeah.
Because one, there shouldn't be that many in the running, but
two.
Dune, which is,
I think that's it. I think that's the only
a
one.
Big budget, which is a big budget, which is kind of in the wheelhouse of someone that would be interested in Marvel,
right?
Would be interested, or Star Wars would be interested in Dune, right?
From my era where I saw the original Dune.
Yes.
But also,
I
watched it because I didn't have to. If they had said Dune is coming out and it's only in theaters, I wouldn't have seen it.
At that time,
it eventually came to HBO Max.
Yeah, at that time,
HBO Max, so I watched it. If it hadn't been there, I wouldn't have seen it.
I would say my wife watched it because it was on HBO Max.
Right.
Had it come out at a time where I felt a little safer going to the theater, I probably would have gone to see Dune. But I understand your point.
Yeah.
My point is that when we talk about certain films and Marvel movies and comic book movies, and then you have a movie like Coda, who wins Best Picture. So someone's saying Coda, and Coda is actually the only one on this list that I haven't seen because I'm still a nerd like that, and I want to watch these films. Right? I will watch Coda soon, though. I will watch it, but I haven't seen that one yet. But I know there aren't many people that saw Belfast or Drive My Car, or maybe they saw King Richard or Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog. I know that. So what is the disconnect between the award circuit and the average viewer that the best movie they saw all year was Sonic the Hedgehog or you know what I'm saying?
I can tell you exactly what that is. It's the difference between the Academy and the People's Choice Awards. That's what it is.
Right.
So in the same, just like the conversation we just had, where somebody else is making the decision for everybody else. This is the Academy, the people who decide what cinema. Look, I'm one of them people who I want to punch Martin Scorsese in his face for saying that the Marvel cinematic movies aren't on cinema. That's not like I want to punch him in his face.
Yeah,
because he is one of those people that is. Look, it's like the Motion Picture Academy is like our Congress. It's a bunch of old white people who only like what they like, and that's it, right? And that doesn't speak for everybody, right? And so, no, you can't necessarily say the thing that made the most money is the best thing, but certainly in some circles, that's going to be the case, right? You certainly can't say that there's enough diversity necessarily to say that this qualifies versus this qualifying, right? I am of the mind that a person like Scorsese, who makes one movie, this man has remade the same movie for every movie he's ever made over and over and over again. And regardless of whether you like those movies or not, that's a man who makes gangster films, period. That's what he does. He makes gangster movies, right? And listen, he makes movies, though, right, that speak to him, that speak to an audience that he specifically loves, right? And they are for the people he makes them for. And there was a time when my people embraced what he was doing because my culture decided that hip hop like guns and gangsters. They guns and gangsters. Let's do guns and gangsters. In the same way hip hop decided kung fu's dope. We can dance like the way they fight. So let's do that. You understand what I'm saying? So like to have somebody who literally puts zero level of diversity in what they make tell you that something else that other people like isn't actually worthy of being considered to be cinema. That's the reason why there's a disconnect between what the Academy nominates, and that doesn't mean that all these movies ain't great movies. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that it means that a movie that could be a great movie, that is from a cinematic perspective, brilliantly shot, wonderfully directed, score is beautifully written, acted, in impeccably, right? All of those things notwithstanding, there are movies that probably did the same thing that never hit a theater, that would never get considered, right? So, in the same way we can argue right now about which MCU film is the best film, right? Because we've all seen them all. The argument over which of those films is the best of those films versus which of those films deserves to be on that list of 10 versus everything else that came out that year. The disconnect between what that is and what we are is because we don't go to the movie. Most people, for somebody like me or you who have a podcast or a show where we come here and we talk about those kinds of things and we get into the cinematography, we get into the scenery, we get into the way that it's lit, we get into the special effects, we get into those kinds of. For most people, they go to the theater to have a good time. They go to the theater to enjoy themselves. They sit down, they watch a movie, they have some popcorn, maybe they drink. You know what I mean? They watch it to get into it and to identify with the characters that are in front of them, right? And what the Academy's doing is telling you should like these better than like these.
Yes. Okay. So I hear you, and you're not wrong. The Academy right now, because the next question I want to ask y'all is what is prestige film? But let me just address what we were already talking about, right? The Academy right now, their issue is that they're so stuck on trying to prove that they're diverse that is spilling out on the films that they are telling you they enjoy. Okay. Sure. When they look at an MCU movie or a comic book movie or a big budget movie, they don't see a movie about a woman who was just trying to find her way in the world, or a black man who's trying to, raise his two little girls and get them to play something that has to have a social aspect.
They decide has value.
Yeah, it has a social value to it. It has to have a social message to it. Captain America, in their mind, does not have that message to it.
Correct.
Black Panther did have that message to them, right? Sure. Even if they didn't look at Black Panther and go, this is one of the best movies of the year, what they saw was Black people love this movie and it's making a point. And so we want to showcase it at our award show.
Right.
And it comes from the history you're talking about, Gage, where they've been a traditionally white entity. Mm-hmm. So the truth is about the Academy is that a couple of years ago, after the Oscars so white thing, they sprinkled a bunch of diverse people within the Academy. Sure. And I think it's starting to become a little bit of a fight about, okay, so Coda, which now that's the only one I didn't see. Right. Sure is a great film, but it's about deaf people. Okay, sure. It's about deaf people. You know what I mean? So that's our winner this year. You know what I mean? Moonlight was about a young Black boy struggling with his sexual. Again, I love this movie. I love Moonlight. Okay, I'm just naming movies that have won. You know what I mean?
Also,
so,
but also like when you. So one, I love Moonlight. I love Moonlight.
Yeah.
Like love the crap out of the movie. To the point, but also that same year, I also love the crap out of La La Land.
But La La Land could not win.
The issue is when they said they won, I actually was like, okay, because that was number two. That was the second thing. But the issue is when you look at the reasons why, and I'm jumping ahead. I want you to make your point.
No, let's talk.
I also throw out the fact that there are also other criteria for some of these Black movies to be highlighted, and what made Moonlight so magical wasn't just a story, and the reason why the director won best director, right? I think he did.
I think so. He did. I know they won best screenplay and they won best picture. So that's right. So it's basically the same when you win screenplay. If you were part of that screenplay, it's almost as good as winning best director. So yeah. Good.
So, no, not really.
Well, true. He's right here. Right about
won for Good Will Hunting, and they didn't get best picture, best director, best blah blah.
What did he say? I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
He said that.
I'm sorry. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck got best screenplay for
Good Will Hunting,
but they didn't get any of the other subsequent awards.
No. I understand. It's obviously up depending on the person. Yeah. Like I remember when Spike Lee won best screenplay for Black Klansman, he was over the moon. And I remember when Quentin Tarantino won it for one of his more recent ones. I can't remember. He was over the moon. No, it was like one of the. It was either
not Hateful.
It was it Django?
Inglourious.
I think it was
Inglourious Basterds. He won it for. Yeah. He won best screenplay, and he was excited because to him it's like, but you gave my movie the award because I wrote this movie and directed. So I understand it depends on the situation. But I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
But like Moonlight, like one of the highlights about Moonlight was the actors who played the main character because there's three different actors.
Yes,
they never met.
Yeah,
they never met.
Yeah,
and the only way you knew that is if you found out more information about the movie itself. And when the director did his pre thing before the movie, they were doing this artist-ridden tour with the movie.
Yeah,
he was like, yeah. So the only way you knew that character was the same character across the different timelines was look in his eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. The best actor didn't win. Best supporting actor won. Which was Mahershala Ali.
Yes.
So there were so many dimensions. Again, I love cinema. And I have an opinion about why.
Let's go. That's why I'm bringing it up.
There's so much about the inclusion. To me, the inclusion of more diversity in the Academy has opened the eyes of the art of creating film in more genres that they wouldn't typically discover. But I feel that the evolution of the Academy shouldn't steer away from what the art of creating movies is all about. So like when you have those like pop movies, it's cool. But I don't call it junk food. Yeah, I don't call it like I don't call it like junk food, but like give me more Moonlight. Give like drive the. I was part of a program in high school that made me want to love film. Like inspire me to do that. King Richard almost had a chance. Almost had a chance to be a best picture. That like you can't tell me like the fact that Denzel looked at him, you won.
Yeah.
We all knew that man won.
Yeah.
If you watch that performance, that man did better than just so much. I don't want to go away from the Academy.
Right.
I need more creative content and more film to be developed. Like Keenan. Is it Keenan? The guy who's doing the who did Get Out.
No, you're talking about
Jordan
Peele.
Jordan Peele, yes. But he is in the realm of making of this blur between pop and then cinema. Like he's bringing that together.
So that's what I'm saying. Right? Because I bring up movies I like, and Moonlight is definitely one of them, right? Love. But when we talk about where pop movies are starting to go, you can't just the Avengers movies work because it was 10 years of build up so we can have our popcorn at the end, right? But in between those spaces, inside and outside of the MCU, we've been talking about the Batman, right? To me, the Batman checks every Oscar box you can have. The only difference is it's about Batman, right? Gage knows this. Logan, for me, I love that movie. I always say it doesn't even have to be about Wolverine. That movie could have been about a dude and a girl on a journey with their father, right? At what point does the Academy include these? And that's why I want to ask, like, what is prestige film? Is that even a thing? Because is Logan prestige film or is just Coda prestige film? It's just Moonlight.
I personally think a lot of it has to do with the way a film is shot. I think anytime you have an overabundance of special effects, of video effects, not necessarily special effects, but special effects a lot of times does take a lot away from it, right?
Right.
There is a love of practical effects, and there are categories for giving people their flowers for
for effects.
Their visual effects are and that kind of thing. But I think part of the problem is, again, somebody like Scorsese can't see a movie like Winter Soldier for the political thriller it is.
Right.
Because somebody can throw a shield really hard.
Yeah.
Right? I think that stories that we have read as kids, stuff that's been in comic books for decades, right? That age-old struggle of being treated unfairly and not being wanted around, that really is a racial struggle or whatever, but was very much mutants, in the X-Men universe, right? One of the reasons why I identified with what I was reading when I was reading those comic books was because of that. I saw the parallels between going to the theater and watching X and reading X-Men.
Right.
They were not completely different for me. But the difference is, how do you put butts in seats and make money from people who won't just go see Malcolm X? People who need that extra. See, not everybody likes to pick up a novel and read a novel. That's hard for me to do. But you put pictures in it, I'll probably read it. And people would tell you that means that I'm uncultured in some circles, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you take the exact same story and you add pictures to it, which is essentially what movies are, right? You take a novel and you add pictures to it.
Right.
Literally, the art of making movies, under most circumstances, you take something that was written and you perform it in front of people. You make it visual for the people who aren't gonna read the book, right? Movies, cinema is it is comic books. It literally is comic books. That's what movies are. And I'm sure that there was a period of time that none of us were alive for, when the transition of people who could only read books, that had to go to the library to get their stories and to get their film, or had to go to a play, right? As film and cinema started to become a thing, there were people who I'm sure were enamored with the technology, but I'm sure that there was an artistry that looked down.
Yeah, that's like, look down on the moving pictures, and also, is we get caught up on comic book movies, but Alice, I'm sure you may know this, that comedies have a hard time getting that nomination, right? And so I think that with the Academy, they lean heavy on the dramatic. How dramatic and how, as my wife would say, how dark is this movie? You know what I mean? As opposed to, and so with the MCU in particular, right? You take the Batman and you take like Logan out of it, and you just go with the MCU. The MCU has a tone to it.
I think that's what they were trying to achieve with something like Eternals.
Right. And a lot of MCU fans were not receptive to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people who didn't bother to go see it, who probably would have loved
because they heard
it was an
about
MCU film.
Yeah.
But also because it was directed by Chloe Zhao.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I think it's a great movie. I think it's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
I think in the grand scheme of MCU, it'll be a better movie in 4 years when we see all of what they were trying to do, right?
And tell me this. And tell me this. What's the real difference between Dune and the Eternals in terms of quality of film? And I'm asking that sincerely. I'm asking that sincerely. I'm not because I'm not
take it because my man had an actual vocal reaction.
Yeah, that was. I'm asking that sincerely because I'm. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'll let you answer because then I'll make my point. But I want you to answer.
Okay. Best Picture is to me a summary of all categories together.
Wait, you mean in one film, or do you mean
yes?
No matter what category you come from, you should be able to fit in the Best Picture nomination. In other words, if you're a comedy, you should be able to be in the Best Picture nomination.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
So basically, like a Best Picture movie should have great cinematography, great
directing, great acting,
great supporting, right? Every you would typically look for.
Yeah, the big categories should all be in the Best Picture category. Okay. Actor, actress, supporting, directing, cinematography, screenplay,
because
all of that should be
the best picture without these elements.
Correct.
Because it can't be the best picture without these elements.
Yes. Agreed.
100%.
If you got a Best Picture nominee and it's not nominated for any of that other stuff, like Black Panther was, you got a problem.
So that's
true.
And so that
was the controversy about
Black Panther. Is what you're saying the difference is between Dune, the difference between Dune and Eternals. You believe that
Eternals was nominated for nothing. I don't think it got best. I don't think it got nominated for like effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, but where did it get nominated?
I don't think it deserved it.
That's fair. I'm asking. I'm not campaigning for Eternals.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
I just want to take a step back. So when you started off this topic, and we started talking about prestige films, and we started talking about all this other stuff. When we started talking about inclusion, we started talking about all this other stuff. One of the things is, even though things are changing, and I'm with Ellis, I don't want a lot of this stuff to change because people have started to dumb down what they think is a best picture because they thought it was their favorite movie of the year. And it may have been because it was funny, but it might not have checked off 5 other boxes. So if we go back in time to about an hour and a half ago, we had a guy brought up a movie called Transformers, right? See, this was the beginning of them trying to straighten things out, right? So they bought in this movie, and like I said, he pulled it off, and they transformed, but it was like watching like 2 rival junkyards fight, right?
Yeah, it was tough to watch.
So what they started to do, and it was spearheaded mostly by the MCU, because they said we have to bring in directors of note. We have to have guys that know how to hit all the marks, because right now, comic book movies or whatever, we're the laughing stock of all the cinema because we can't break through. You know, you had movies like, because we talked about comedies, As Good as It Gets won Best Picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have a notable director.
Right.
So they had to up their game with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had to up their game. They had to say, we have to bring in guys that can hit every single mark, from the cinematography to the script to everything. So when we start talking about things like The Winter Soldier, which you know is my favorite, shame on you, Ellis, for backing down off that for a movie with a little boy playing Spider.
You don't understand how hard that phone call was. You don't
It was a rough call.
understand how that was a rough phone call.
And my man was in tears.
I get it. I get it. But what I'm telling you is, when I look at Spider-Man No Way Home, that was not a marvel. But when I look at Winter Soldier, that was a marvel, which probably had maybe 4 of my favorite fight scenes of all the MCU in one movie. Not to mention the dialogue. There was like one stupid part in it, but other than that, an otherwise flawless movie. Right. And the problem is, I would go so far as to say Scorsese has never seen The Winter Soldier, because if he did, that one movie alone would change his mind.
Oh, here's the thing. He specifically said
Star
he's
Wars
never
No
watched
Way Home
any of them.
I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home would not change his mind. Winter Soldier would absolutely change his mind.
Listen, you know what? And I'll even push back on that, because I honestly do believe that people seem to think that if a movie doesn't evoke emotion in you, that it's not cinema. And that's just not the case. Something is good comedy because it evokes an emotion in you, it makes you laugh, you find something funny. People walked out of Endgame ecstatic.
Yeah.
My kids cried in Transformers.
Right.
People walked. Listen, the Ellis called me about Spider-Man because he cried.
Ellis says, "Stop saying that, please."
I'm
gonna tell you why. Because for all of the great acting that we give kudos and credit for, and really get into the role. I want you to feel it. I want you to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I watched the other day was Four Brothers? Bruh.
Yeah.
That's a clean joint, right? Like, I feel it the whole time.
It was.
It takes something to be emotionally connected as an actor to what you're doing while you're pretending you have powers coming out of your hands, bruh. Like, there is something to that, right? And here's the thing. I tell people all the time that the thing about whoever your favorite actor is, or whatever your favorite movie is, like, you don't really know who your favorite actor is unless you've seen them do a play, unless you've seen them on Broadway. Because the reality of it is, you have no idea how many takes that director made them retake that one shot that made it into the movie. You have no idea how much work the person editing the film put into that film to make them look as good as they did to win Best Actor, to win Best Actor, to be Best Support.
It's directors, man.
It is.
But I gotta say this. So you brought the Russo brothers in, and they were great directors.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Change the tone of MCU.
I can't remember the guy from the Batman. He's a great director.
Reeves.
Reeves.
That's not just it's not just the direction that the Batman movies had to start taking. It's the type of direction that these types of movies have started to need.
Yeah.
Now, even if you look back and you start looking at the sci-fi genre and you look at Avatar. So the thing about James Cameron, hell of a director, most movies that are heavily CGI, people look at it and say, well, they're cheating. No, James Cameron takes it, pushes it to the next level, and makes it more difficult. And the next man can't do what he did. And even if you take someone on the lower tech part of it, and you'll say, when I say lower tech, I mean, this is Mr. Everyman in the directing world, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
He's done action. He's done sci-fi. He's done comedy. He's done every single thing. And then he's done movies where he's melded all together. He's worked with kids. He worked with old people. He's done it
Pets,
all.
animals. Yeah.
Right. So when I say Scorsese couldn't do Endgame or Infinity Wars, I think Spielberg could do Endgame or Infinity Wars.
Possibly.
You know what I mean? I think one of my favorites, and y'all probably disagree, Ron Howard. I think he can do Infinity Wars or Endgame or one of those. But what I'm saying is, and because I have to just really small point is the turn, and this is as far as sticking with the Academy being what they should be. It's the same way I feel about a lot of African American films. If you ask the African American world, you know, at one year they probably would have said Purple Rain was Best Picture. One of my personal all-time favorites. If you look at it, not really a good movie. I'm just saying, don't.
It had
and
great
I know
music.
That's blasphemy. His wife would kill me. That's why he looked behind him. I'm just saying, it's one of my favorites of all times.
Sure.
Not a really good movie. And what I'm saying, like things like that it kind of gets lost. And people have these expectations of what they feel like a best movie should be. And what needs to happen with a lot of these people is they need to be educated on the Academy as opposed to, you know, go ahead, Ellis.
No. I'm waiting because I want to jump on the end of this. The end of this is good.
I think they need to be educated on the Academy rather than trying to change the Academy. I understand the part about inclusion, but one of the things is a lot of these films, a lot of these genres, a lot of the black films weren't included because in all honesty, they weren't worthy of being there. And that's just, I'll leave on that note.
Hey, so I agree. Like I believe the inclusion part has helped things like Drive My Car or what's the one that won Parasite. It helps us discover those movies and that push the effort to find these types of movies. The issue that I'm having is the lack of, again, when my wife and I, our favorite, one of our favorite artists is Esperanza Spalding.
Mine too.
And we discovered her when she won Grammy for Best New Artist, and we're like, who the hell is that? We literally were at a Grammy party, and we're like, I had jumped in there. We were balling.
Listen, I want to tell you that I was defending her online against people that year who were like, Justin Bieber is way better than her. I said, y'all have no idea what y'all talking about.
And then
I was on that also wasn't her first album, so it was kind of cheap.
Right.
But okay.
Right. But wait though. The issue was, and when someone called it out at the party, they said that she is an artist.
Sure.
So artists love Esperanza because of what she's able to do, what she's able to produce, how she does it, the little detail and nuance that makes her that unique, and they love that about her. And I'm like, oh, so when I look at the Academy, and when you said it perfectly earlier, People's Choice versus Academy. Exactly. Academy, we're talking about the art of film. We're not here to appease. Last year was Chadwick's last movie.
Yes.
That was aired on Netflix. That was nominated, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
he was nominated.
He was nominated. He didn't win.
Yeah.
And the backlash, because it was like the Academy. It was like the Academy forgot. The producers forgot that they were the Academy, and there was no way Chadwick was going to beat Anthony Hopkins. No way. None. And it was because people forget about the art and get sentimental.
Sorry. No. So go. Please finish your point. I don't want to interrupt your point.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's just more of like there is so much in the art, and I respect the art. Like I told Gage earlier, like, dude, you tell me about this new cure, this new medical cure. I respect the medical professional. because that's what the professional does. You don't need my
Right.
stupid opinion because I'm a marketer. I'm here to sell this shit to you. I ain't here to take the medication. To make a medication. I'm here to sell it. So like that's not what I do. So when I look at the art of cinema, because like that was a past life of video production, all of this stuff, appreciating film.
Yeah.
I'm like, I understand that there's a art and effort to this on everyone's end, right? So I'm like, so I'm like, hey, let that academy be the American Marketing Association. Yes. That's what it is. Yeah. Let that be the association, the group that I'm signed up for to give out the award.
Right.
And that's it.
Yes, absolutely. Right. So I'm a journalist. We talked about narrative. I'm also a filmmaker. So I understand these parts, right? But the narrative thing is the biggest thing to me, right? Because you said black film, comic book movie, right? Once you're in that narrative, it's almost impossible for people to look at it as anything other than that. Right. Some movies escape it. Moonlight escaped the curse of being called a black movie. For some reason, it was just looked at as a film, right? Heath Ledger was able to escape, or Joaquin Phoenix was able to escape, or Joker was able to escape the stigma of being a comic book movie, and people looked at it as a film. So yes, there are MCU movies. I'm not sitting there saying let's just nominate MCU movies because people go see them, right? What I'm saying is that there are films and everything. That's why I said, what's the difference between Dune and Eternals? Dune is better than Eternals, right? But the real difference is because this. Well, hold on. That's not. I don't want to get too far of it. Okay. Whether you think it's better or not. Okay. The woman that directed Dune, the woman that directed Eternals, won an Academy Award.
Correct.
Just that year. Okay.
Right.
For some reason, because her movie was in the MCU, her sci-fi epic was looked at as a comic book movie. Wow. Dune is not viewed. I don't want to muddy my point. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not arguing that the Eternals should be nominated for an Oscar. What I'm saying is that it had no shot because it was looked at. It got caught in the narrative of a comic book movie. Somehow Dune escaped it. And so that's what I'm saying. Excuse my voice, man. When you talk about black films, comic book films, comedy, whenever they get caught in the narrative of this is just that one thing, sometimes they don't have a shot. It's not about how much money they make. It's about whether the movie and the film and the art was good. There are movies within the MCU. There may be just 2 or 3 that are perfect in every way, right? But did not get a shot because of the narrative that they fit in. And so that's what's interesting to me. And the same thing with black films. Yes, just because a black person make a movie and it's on Netflix doesn't mean there needs to be a million white movies on Netflix that don't. I agree they need to keep their standard of what's good and they need to have high standards, right? To me, it's not about a black movie. I agree with you, Ellis, that the diversity just helped us see more film. And a lot of times black folks are going to have to understand when they talked about diversity, it didn't mean a bunch of black people get nominated. It meant that a Japanese person is going to get nominated. It means that a Latin movie or a movie about deaf people, whatever. But all I'm saying is that when we talk about the term prestige, that is a narrative. And comic book movie is a narrative. And when you get caught in it, people don't give it an opportunity because they believe I'm watching a prestige film. Year of the Dog is a prestige film. It's an important movie. I need to understand and give this movie a shot. Spiderman Far From Home or No Way Home is a comic book movie. And that's how I think
you're absolutely right.
Keep that out of this conversation.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that had
Logan
people in the Academy watched Eternals with Academy eyes instead of watching it with comic book movie eyes, I think that movie gets nominated. I think
Dune got nominated.
I think all of the categories that you're talking about being the categories that make a film qualify for being nominated for Best Picture, I honestly believe it hits every single one of them. All of them.
I don't believe so.
Ellis
so-
was
I don't
about to
believe
cry.
so.
Damn.
We were talking
no,
about
because
say the comparison between Dune and Eternals. Let me explain something for the people that don't understand this. Okay, so Dune was superiority, but incomplete superiority. When the second half comes out,
Right.
as long as it keeps pace with the first half, it will absolutely take Best Picture. It will do the same thing that Lord of the Rings did. When you looked at it, but you knew 2 more parts were coming, as long as it kept pace with that, that was the standard. That was what was going to take
Yeah.
it. And I'm guaranteeing you this. Eternals isn't well, let's see Eternals 1 and it wasn't complete, so 2 and no. It wasn't that level. It gave you everything that it could in its entirety. Dune created you to Dune took you to a world, introduced you to. Listen, it was almost. I don't want to say it was almost perfect because then I'm be, my
Then
scale.
you got bad
But
scales.
you get what I'm saying. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Like,
explain your scales.
Dune. Dune, absolutely. Absolutely. You saw from that first half that if the second half was that.
Can I tell you something?
That?
I thought Dune was boring.
Doesn't matter.
No, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Nope.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why that. I'm going to tell you why that matters. I'm going to tell you why that matters.
I call it after Gage.
Go for it. It matters because if narrative is something that you consider as something that qualifies a film for Best Picture, if a film is boring, then its narrative isn't there. Like it wasn't holding me. Dune felt cliche, and that's as somebody who knows what the story is supposed to be anyway, right? So it felt cliche and it felt abrupt, and at no point did it make me feel like the stakes were high. I know it's supposed to.
But you already knew the story. You know the movie, and you also know what are the parts of the story. You have the what is it? What were we taught in school? The intro, the so and so, the denouement. You go through all of these different things. You already know where it's going, but you're expecting it to give you all of these different elements in that first chapter. It doesn't work that way.
Listen, all I'm saying, we're not grading Dune on whether or not it has another part. We're grading Dune on what it was. So we can't compare what Eternals is to what that is based on what it is.
You can't say that's what it was if that's not Dune. What you saw
was not Dune.
That's no. That was part of a movie. That was part of the movie Dune that you saw. That was not Dune.
Right. No, that was Dune. That was the movie.
That was
not
Dune.
So let me just make sure. No. Because what that means is what you're saying is that Dune didn't win an Academy Award based on it. It won an Academy Award based on what's coming on the part that we didn't see.
No.
Exactly.
No,
it has to be based on the film that they gave you.
It showed me where they were going, and
that doesn't matter. Me know. What if they don't ever make that? What if they don't ever make the next part? What if for some reason the money's not there and they never make the next part? Listen, that's not the point.
So real quick.
That's not the point.
So real quick. So what's crazy about what's happening right now is that, and this is not what I wanted to say, but they didn't greenlight. They didn't greenlight Dune 2.
Yeah.
Until the debut.
Yeah, that's true.
They didn't greenlight it until then.
Yeah.
So in theory, because I didn't when Batista tweeted it or something like that. He was like, "We finally got a green light for Dune." I'm like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah,
what I just saw was part of a movie.
Yeah, that was bold. It's bold what they did.
The way it ended, you didn't feel like it was only the first part of it.
Well, I mean, I knew because I know the story, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it was interesting that they didn't greenlight the movie already like they've done, numerous 2-part films. Just real quick though, even if the Eternals was as good as Dune, by some people's opinion, I still think the Eternals comes in at a disadvantage because it's
my point.
A comic book movie. People were able to look at
people look at
able to look at
was as good as Dune.
Right.
That's not even what my point is.
Right. People were able to look at Javier's movie and go, well, that's Javier's movie. It'd be Dune. But they were looking at Chloe's Marvel movie. And that's again, I'm not arguing that all 20.
It is my opinion that
what
they
are we at,
put
25?
Dune on a pedestal, that Eternals was never given because of the category technically that
because of the narrative.
What I'm saying is, if you all the things that qualify, if you look at the cinematography, how beautifully it was shot, all of the way the actors pulled in, the kinds of things that they pulled off, all of the things, right? That movie is a beautiful, beautiful movie. If you watch it as just a movie, if you were to technically separate the Eternals from the MCU and just watch it as there's this movie that came out called the Eternals, I honestly believe that movie gets nominated. I think it didn't get nominated because it's a part of the MCU. I believe that people look at it. It's the inability to separate it from that category. It's the inability to separate it from the things that you think should automatically disqualify it. The movie is automatically disqualified because it falls into the category of being a quote unquote comic book movie.
Yeah.
Was it
and the risk?
What is it?
I'm gonna tell you no. I'm gonna tell you guys no. So the reason I'm saying no is this, right? Chloe has gone on record saying this is one of the most difficult movies she's ever had to direct. Period. On the tour. If you compare Nomadland, which is what she won the award for, to Eternals, you'll wonder who the hell directed Eternals. You are correct.
You're right about
looked
that.
Beautiful. If you were Brandon, you were correct. I mean, who said it? It looked beautiful. They acted the best they possibly could. They did not get nominated because of Chloe, and I will stick to my guns on that. Because tell me what movie have you seen? Again, I put her here. Okay, I put her here. She made a movie and was able to direct camera, acting. She blended a documentary with fiction. No one could. People were watching that movie thinking that was all produced until that happened, and she did it on purpose because she's that damn good of a director. Was when she let that girl who died. The girl who died looked directly into the camera and made everyone question, what the fuck am I watching? There was only 4 actors in that entire movie.
Okay.
My own thing is that we can say whatever you want about comic book movies. I'm going to tell you that the director, even with her admission of saying the difficulty she ran into because she was like, I don't know how to fit. It was difficult for her to fit into the Marvel mold. That woman can do amazing things. She did great though. She fumbled with Eternals.
Okay, so hold on.
I disagree.
Hold on.
I disagree with that though.
I disagree with that. Yeah, I don't think it didn't get nominated because the director. I think that it had an extremely low chance. The moment if Javier turns around and goes, "I'm directing X-Men," and it could be as beautiful as Dune or any of his films, it's still going to be the X-Men, and people are still going to look at it and go, "But it's the X-Men." And I know it could be. But he can direct a movie about a bunch of misfit teens who are just trying to who have powers even. And outside of that, and people will give it a look. We know this because the people who are respected within the Academy, right? Who's the dude that just did The Last Night? My man that did Braveheart. I mean not Braveheart, that did Gladiator. Help me. That guy, the director.
I know you're talking about. I can't
remember. Spoke out about Ridley Scott was blaming comic book movies for people not seeing The Last Night. Okay.
Yeah.
These are people who have pulled with they speak for the opinion of people within this world. These stupid little roller coaster movies are derailing our work.
Right.
They're saying it.
Right.
They're saying it.
If you're telling me
it's literally like
I'm not saying it's the only reason, but I'm saying it's a reason.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Let it be a reason. Let it be a bullet. But let's not discount. Again, she fumbled, dude. But again,
Okay, I mean, and that's
acting
one
was
movie.
great.
So
All the categories.
So if the
Listen, here's
Batman
the
does
thing.
not get nominated, now,
The
if the
it's
Batman,
already been set up for success. You know why?
help talk to me.
Are you aware that you are aware that the Batman is an artist movie, right?
Yes,
This is a very rare tag for any comic book movie to have.
Right.
yeah,
It is
that's
already
true.
being set up to go and reach that level. The only thing
Right.
it has to do is does not drop the ball when it comes to anything else. I'm just letting you know that
Word
movie
up.
alone is already set up for
And actually,
potential.
that movie, and
But
this would be
again,
my last point on this.
yeah, that's the point. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, DC movies have kind of shown, because DC has done, if they've done anything cool, they've realized that some of their movies can be isolated. Joker, the Batman doesn't. The Batman's never going to meet Aquaman, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's separate. It's
Actually,
in
that's
his own.
probably not true. It's
Whoa,
probably not
that
true.
I would hope that, man. Anyway, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
Man, if this Batman meets Aquaman, I'm gonna lose my shit. Okay.
Hey, listen, I'm on both sides of it.
If Jason Momoa shows up in the Batman 2,
Nah, that's the whole point of what they're doing with the Flash. Flashpoint Paradox is going to bring it all together and make it one thing.
Jesus help us.
Then that's the whole point. That's how they're going to get rid of Affleck and bring him in.
They're dumb. Okay, but put that to the side. Okay,
I'm telling you,
that to the side. I trust you, Gage, but God, that means they're dumb. And this credit I'm about to give them is going to be gone. But for the moment, I'm going to give them credit and say they have realized that, just like comic books have done traditionally, doing outside stories, singular stories can work. Yeah. So DC, that's how the Joker got nominated, because the Joker is should be his own thing, right?
Right.
Marvel has not done that yet. Out of all the amazing things they do, everything is connected. There's no.
I think the beauty of that. I just want to say, I think the beauty of that is that, to an extent, they want that trophy.
Right.
But I don't think that's necessarily what they're going after. Because you can look at the success of so much of the TV that most people are watching right now, that is the highest rated shows and so forth that's on TV. It's all comic books. It's all comic book material.
Right.
All of it.
Right.
It's just that the people watching it don't know it. They don't know The Walking Dead is a comic book.
Yeah.
You understand
or DMZ
what I'm saying?
or any. Yes, I agree.
So the difference
DMZ
is
was terrible.
If you
DMZ was.
If you don't push it in that realm, again, you manage to keep that stigma off of it by saying, "Oh, it's not a comic book thing." It's possible to do.
Yeah,
if people don't know.
But Marvel, the MCU cannot, Disney. And we'll go back to right, and we'll go back to the Eternals for example, right? The director to the side. The big issue with the Eternals was that it was too art house for the MCU people,
right,
and too MCU for the art house people. So all the critiques that came up from it before it was even screened, before we could see it at least.
Yeah,
man, I don't feel like a Marvel movie, man. There's something weird about it. I don't know. It felt more like a Chloe movie than a Marvel movie. And then so people wanted to go see a Chloe movie. To Ellis' point, it's like, this isn't like No Man's Land. What is this? This is this is a regular Marvel movie. And so the MCU, because and this, I promise, is my last point. The MCU, because their story is so connected, their television, everything is so connected. They can't make a movie that's outside of their narrative, and so it'll be very difficult for them to get that nomination like the Batman may, because you can look at the Batman and go, but yeah, that's not the same as the Flash or Shazam. This is a totally different.
It feels more grounded because he doesn't have powers.
There you go. That's why Batman always gets nominated, because he's right.
Maybe, man. But I think I think the breakthrough is coming through with one of them.
I hope so. Yeah. That's funny.
Right.
I'm like, hold up. Your bullet just really defined why Winter Soldier was so good.
Exactly. Yeah. But it didn't win.
It didn't touch anything.
But that's because
it wasn't connected to anything really, right?
Right.
It's a comic book movie.
No, what you say? What I want to do? Yeah.
This is what I want to do, because I know Adam said he probably gonna have to go soon.
Yeah, I'm mad.
We went a little long. Here's what I want y'all to do. I have a couple topics. Y'all want to talk about basketball, or do y'all want to talk about hip hop? Y'all pick.
I just want to talk about basketball. I ain't gonna front.
Okay, Ellis.
But you know,
I watch pro wrestling, so I'm gonna go with the other thing.
Hip hop.
The other thing.
Wayne.
I'm down with whatever though.
We can go with hip hop.
All right, let's talk
hip hop. All right.
Hold on, wait. What did Ellis do? I'm going with Ellis. We went.
Ellis said hip hop.
Yeah, he said hip hop.
All right, so here's what I want to do. And this is the thing. I know, Adam, I know you said you got to bounce out. And if you do, you do. And that's cool.
Okay.
But I think you're going to be upset if you miss this topic. So
I'm going to stay as long as I can. I got to let my wife go to sleep at some point.
Okay, listen.
But I'm going to stay as long as I can. Don't worry. I'm here.
That's totally fair. Here's what I want to do. I want to finally try to come to a consensus on this Biggie versus Pac thing.
Oh, God.
That's what I want to do. Why you make that face?
The man said he has to go.
Yeah,
Everybody has to work tomorrow. There's no way we can do this by 5 a.m.
Yes.
Hey, listen.
Damn.
This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to state how I feel on it and why I feel that way. You can agree or disagree. Go back and forth about it. We go around the horn, however y'all want to do, but this is where I am.
All right.
Okay.
I'm a Biggie fan over a Pac fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think Biggie is better than Pac as far as the one versus the other thing is concerned. And here's why. Biggie Smalls had one album when people started talking about whether or not he was the greatest of all time. One album. Nobody ever talked about Pac being the greatest of all time until the East Coast, West Coast kicked off between Biggie and Pac. And that wasn't really about rap, skill, MCing. That was about coasts and beef. That's it. The rhetoric that we got caught in about the two of them and who is better came from something that had nothing to do with music technically. When Pac died, elevated him. Period. I'm not saying he didn't have crazy fans and that people didn't love him already. They did. Pac had several albums. Now, I don't know anybody who has Pac in their top 5. He might be in their top 10. But I don't know anybody that has him in their top 5. By the time Biggie's second album came out, you do have him in your top 5? Is Biggie in your top 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Is one ahead of the other?
Yes.
Okay. By the time Biggie's second album came out, he was already gone. And he was already in the running.
Mm-hmm.
It was already being discussed. And nobody really pulls other people into that discussion anymore. People ask about other MCs or who your favorite is now or what you think, but nobody ever says, I think Kendrick Lamar is better than Biggie, or I think Kendrick Lamar is better than Pac. They just don't do it. It has been those two for so long. I think it's Biggie because I think he did it with minimum effort.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think the discussion was valid until his first album came out, and nobody was asking about him versus Pac at all because I don't even think they were in the same category.
No.
Pac was a rapper.
Let us know when you.
Big was an MC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, feel free. Let's go around the horn.
Can I have first stab at this? Okay. All right. So it's a no-brainer that Biggie is a better rapper or should be higher on the list, and that's by a long shot. The reason being, and it's what a lot of people
Are
don't
they
know.
both 10s and he's by a long shot?
Not even close. Either one of them is a 10. Either one of them is a 10. Okay. But what most people don't know is what you've heard from Biggie, those 2 albums. People don't know those are the only songs Biggie ever recorded. Did everybody know that? Everybody knew that. Mm-hmm. Like, you know that Pac had thousands and thousands of songs. Right. So when Biggie does what's considered to be 2 classic albums full of the only songs he ever did. Mm-hmm. So when Pac goes in to record a double album, and let's just say there's 24 songs on that double album, Pac may have recorded 100 songs to choose and to pick through to find those 24 songs.
Right.
And then when he does a 12-song album, records 50 or 60 songs. So it's standing to reason that me, who hasn't rapped since somewhere abouts in the 80s, records 1,000 songs. I could come up with, let's just say, 5 classic albums with the right production. So I think it's kind of unfair, but it's kind of it kind of is what it is. It's kind of cheating. There was no A&R department going through Biggie's songs, selecting the best of the best. What he did was the best, and that's the product he put on the table.
Right.
And so I also have to say something else in it, which is I don't have either one of them in my top 10 and probably not the top 15.
I'm okay with that.
You know, I'm from a different, you know, I don't know. I'm from when rappers in Gladiator School. Yeah, so I mean, it kind of is what it is. But for that reason alone, Pac kills him. If you wanted to do a versus and you had to do 20 songs, Biggie's 20 against Pac's 20, Pac would probably win. But he has an unfair advantage because he's pulling from thousands of songs.
Yeah.
So
that makes okay.
Yeah.
That makes 1,000% sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The Tupac Biggie argument is impossible to have. I have them both in my top 5 for no real logical reason other than they just meant something to me in a very important time in my life. Same way my brother has rappers in his top 5 who I won't even mention, but he's 24. Right. So when he was 17, 16 years old, there was a lot of young goofies who just was moving him, right?
Yeah. Speaking
frank with you, this guy, you probably can't see because the light's kind of flushing it out. Kendrick is probably the best rapper and artist in hip hop for me that I've ever heard. And I still have this old head fight in my brain about putting them over these 2 dudes. Right. Because when I was in high school, in middle school, Tupac was making music that was moving me in a way that no one can move me as a 40-year-old man. It's just not possible. So Biggie is a better technical rapper than Tupac. I learned that when they both did songs with my favorite rap group, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Sure.
When Biggie did a song with him, he rapped like Bone. And in my young mind, that showed me he has different skill sets. Pac did it, he did Tupac, right?
He did Bone as good as Bone, though.
Biggie, yes. No, that's what I'm saying. Yes, he did. Like people really just listen to the Biggie verses. Sometimes they cut the song off, which I find crazy because Busy ripped it right after. But that's besides the point. I'm just saying that, yes, he's a better technical rapper than Tupac. But Tupac,
I actually probably that's probably my favorite Tupac verse.
What, on Thug Love?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
he ripped the song now.
Bone Thugs was so influential. Everybody was trying to do what they was doing. What they was doing, everybody was trying to do something bouncy, something fast, something double tongue. Everybody was doing. And I love that Biggie was able to do it, which I feel like people felt like was unexpected because he was heavier,
because he's bigger,
and breathed heavy, and his tongue might be in the way.
Yeah.
Pac came on that joint and
did
did
Tupac.
him
Yeah.
and nailed that.
And
joint.
nailed
Like,
it. And so
that joint felt like his. Listen, Pac's timing on that joint is impeccable, bro.
So
I think his timing on that joint is better than almost everything else he's ever done.
And so you're saying it, right? That's what makes both of them great. Because after Tupac popped and a bunch of dudes from the No Limit rappers, Master P, who was not a great rapper at all, changed his entire style, and a bunch of dudes who couldn't rap just decided, you know what I can do? Follow me in the beat. They could do that. My mama in the, because Pac did that, right?
These are fucking hits.
Yeah, Pac.
These are hits.
Pac. I mean, no one could do. There'll never be another Tupac. But technically, rap skill wise, who I prefer to hear rapidy rap, was Biggie. But to the point, it is so impossible to compare.
Hey, listen, I just want you to know that's probably the most old man thing you've ever said.
Rapidy rap. Yeah.
Rapidy rap.
But
that hippity
hip hop. But no, but to Duane's point, it is unfair because Tupac put out so much more work than Big. The truth is, people have surpassed them both. And it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Okay. It's difficult for people to say, especially in my age group, my specific age group. This kid, the other kid from North Carolina, Cole, a couple of others.
I lost me with that one.
I don't like Cole, but that's
you just lost.
No, I'm just. I mean, that's fair.
I hear you.
That's fair.
Sometimes he does say things that I like. I don't like his delivery at all.
Listen, that's
Kendrick
fair.
is special. Cole,
Kendrick is special.
Okay,
he's there because nobody else is there.
Hey, listen,
he can't.
Kendrick
is here. Cole is here.
Kendrick is head and shoulders. So let's take Cole because again, I want to let's put Cole over there.
Yeah,
because all of this is all subjective, right?
Sure.
But Kendrick Lamar,
everything we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar is head and shoulders better than almost anybody, including some of those people in that Mount Rushmore. But for me, as old head now,
watch your mouth. All right.
That's
going a little too far.
But
you're going too far now. What?
The beauty of that is being able to having a foundation to be able to build on.
Yeah.
Right? Like what?
You're right. But
the people we named are the reason there's a Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
Yeah.
Bro, there's few people who can outdo what Andre 3000 was doing.
Without Andre, there is no Kendrick.
Period, bro. Like, period. Yeah. It's incredible if you watch.
Yeah.
If you listen to the
I'm a Rakim guy, man.
Without Rakim, there is no Big.
Right.
Yeah.
Again.
Nah, Big, like, the Biggie's here. Nah, I'm talking about, like, if you go listen to Lyrics of Fury by Rakim, and you'll realize that even to this day, Biggie, none of these jokers, like, I'm talking about lyric. I think Rakim was like the first dude that, you know how we say somebody was spitting?
Yeah.
He's the first dude that was spitting. Like everybody else might have been rapping.
Yeah.
Rakim was spitting. And he was.
Of course. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like Rakim.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Rakim was one of the first people to really take it to another level where there was much more intricacy in the way that he was delivering what he was saying. Yes. He wasn't just giving you this word rhymes with at the end of this bar rhymes with this word at the end of this bar. Right. You was getting multiple rhymes throughout the entire bar, and he was double looping them joints back on each other. Like he was doing things that were incredible at the time.
It was stupid.
What somebody like Big was doing that, but telling extremely detailed and intricate stories.
Yes, and being funny.
Doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I wasn't a big fan of like Common, but that dude could tell a story.
Yes.
Yeah. That dude, like, he could tell a story like it was nobody's business, which is, again, one of the best things about Eminem. Forget everything else. The knocks against somebody like Eminem for me are that he tends to rap a lot of times about just nonsense, which
rapidy rap
was okay at the time. There's his delivery is incredible. His timing, his spacing is incredible. The way that he puts the intricacies of his rhymes together, I think Royce is better than him. I do.
Yeah,
I think Royce is better than him. But Royce doesn't have, and this is a skin color thing, Royce doesn't have the flexibility to rap about the kind of ridiculousness that Eminem can rap about.
Correct.
And he put himself in a place where he talks about himself and the drugs and the things that are so wacky. Like, he can also rap over really wacky beats, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? But man, Royce he's not 10 times better than him, but he's better than him. He's definitely better than him.
Yeah.
I didn't give my opinion yet.
Go ahead, Ellis. Go ahead, Ellis.
Because everyone said Biggie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here comes devil's advocate.
I want to go against you guys. Let me tell you why.
Don't do it just to be doing it.
Right. Ellis, real quick, before you do that, Adam, I know you got to run. We're going to keep having this conversation.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining us and hanging out with us today. We definitely will do this again.
Man. Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You go off, you get some sleep. Make sure your wife gets some sleep so she ain't mad at me because she ain't getting no sleep and taking it out on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one more time before you go, tell everybody where they can go and they can follow you and find you.
Yeah, man. Follow me, MSR_Adam, MSR_Adam. Check out the What Are Those podcasts on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and on the Up on Game Network. Check it out. It comes out every Tuesday. So actually, there'll be an episode. Well, not at the recording of this show, will be an episode tomorrow, but every Tuesday there's a new episode, and the Butler did it. You can check it out on YouTube. All the links are on MSR_Adam on my Instagram and Twitter. Appreciate y'all, man.
Watch the What Are Those documentary, y'all. Go on YouTube and watch that.
And watch the documentary. It's on my YouTube as well. And the link is in my link tree on my social media, man. I appreciate y'all. Nice to meet y'all, fellas, man. We're going to do this again.
No doubt.
Definitely. Now, check this out. He's going to miss this comment. Because real talk, old man Ellis is past his bedtime.
Oh.
So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you this comment.
Okay, by all means.
The answer is Tupac.
Okay.
The reason why isn't for his rap ability.
Okay.
It's for the fact that he's able to fuck with a man's soul from the grave and make him slap someone on his most important day. I was letting you know. If Biggie is able to mess with another man's soul from the grave and make them slap someone else on the biggest day of their life, show it to me, find it. Tupac did it. He's the reason why we're in a situation with Will. I'm letting you know this is why Tupac is the greatest of all time.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. There are people who I promise you got slapped because of Biggie that you will never know about. That's what I'll tell you. That's what I will tell you, bro. Straight up. Yeah, I will tell you that. I give you that. I'll concede that from the grave he took the cool out of the room.
Right.
20 years later.
That's it.
20 years later.
For a moment, he took the cool out of the room for a moment. You know what I'm saying?
Making a woman.
I will give Pac this. And you know Fred the Godson, the rapper?
Yeah.
He passed the COVID too. Fred the Godson said something, man. He was like, the reason why he was respected Pac so much. He said, I gotta say, he said, if you found like Pac's rap book on the ground and you read it, it sounded like a bunch of nonsense. But when Pac starts spitting the lyrics, it sounds like he's preaching to you. And it sounds like he's really saying something. And it elevates it. So I always gotta leave a little space for that. So I can't discount nothing. I can't say I can't deny any greatness from him or anything. because, like I said, sometimes the man has to say and has to express it a certain way, the way he intended it, for you to really understand it. And if you can't read it and get that understanding, but he tells you, and you like, oh my God. I went to a Nas concert a couple years ago, and I'm a big Nas fan too. But I'm gonna tell you something. There were songs of Nas's that I absolutely hated. But when I went to his show, and Nas does a whole lot of cutting the music off and just spitting his lyrics. And you sitting there saying, I actually knew the lyrics, but maybe I didn't know the lyrics because I'm hearing it now, and it was magic.
Feeling different.
Probably the best rap show I've ever been to. And it's because I had to hear it the way he intended me to hear it. Because maybe I wasn't listening correctly. And sometimes I criticize rappers. Sometimes I criticize some of these rappers. And you a rapper, and you've been around a lot. You've seen a lot of times that somebody's sitting there and they rapping and stuff a cappella, and you sitting there saying, "This is a trash rapper, right?" He's rapping, he got his finger going, and he's la 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 la. And for some reason, he's doing it. He'd be like, "This dude could actually rap." Right. Now, right before that, you're saying he was trash, but he made you understand what he was saying, and you realize that sometimes you weren't listening. You just weren't listening.
I'm of the mind that, like, it's funny because I hear people who like love Pac. They go to defend him. They be like, "Yo, Pac was a poet," and I'd be like, "You right, but nigga, you don't read poetry. You ain't never picked up a book and read no poetry nowhere. So who are you to tell me that Pac's level of GOAT rap status is based on him being a poet when you ain't never listened to any, nothing poetic has ever done anything for you, right? And what that really means, though, is that it spoke to you. That's all it really means, right? Is that it spoke to you, that somehow, some way, for some reason, and maybe it was the music, maybe it was the beats behind it, maybe it was the timing or the delivery, maybe it was kind of slowing it down. I do think that I listened to somebody like Biggie and could pick everything he was saying out of what he was saying. I could do the same thing with Bone Thugs, though. So a lot of people tell you, "Oh man, them dudes is talking gibberish," but I could hear it all. You understand what I'm saying? I can understand it all. Pac slowed it down, and Pac slowed it down without dumbing it down. Most of the folks who followed behind Pac and slowed it down, dumbed it down. And it was stupid music. And I couldn't. I was like, nah, this ain't working for me. Right?
Yeah.
Jay dumbed it down, but kept it respectable. He didn't dumb it down in a way that made it dumb. He dumbed it down in a way that made it understandable. It was like breaking it down as opposed to dumbing it down. He would tell you he dumbed it down. He wasn't dumbing it down. He was breaking it down. He was taking the music and segmenting it in a way that made it, let me let you enjoy these 4 bars right here, and then I'm going to give you these 4 bars right here. Then I'm going to hit you with these 4 bars right here. You know what I'm saying? And that was a difference.
Jay gave you a cipher so that he gave you a cipher back then so that in the future you could understand
it. You could understand literally.
Yeah. So
Jay is at my top. So he's at my top.
And so I wasn't a big, like I said, I'm not a big Pac fan. And I know neither one of y'all were probably in the Nipsey hustle. So a lot of people talk about the way a lot of people talk about the way that Pac talks to them. And I'm older, but Nipsey stuff spoke to me the same way that Pac stuff spoke to a lot of people throughout our years. It's the reason why, and I don't know if you knew, Brandon, you might have known. Me and Vaughn and Micah from OF. We went to his funeral when he passed. So we actually went out to LA to the funeral. Yeah, we went to the funeral and attended the funeral. Like I said, I was a Nip fan. Like a real Nip. I'm talking about before he died. I wasn't one of the ones that started listening to him afterwards. Like I'm talking about, I would play it, and my commute was 2 hours each way. I was bumping some Nip on the way to work and coming from work like every day. And Vaughn was the same way. And my brother, he the hater supreme, but he was listening to it the same way, man. But he was a lover too, huh?
Yeah. I dig that.
But
I dig that, man.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Hey, look, it's been a long show. Good show.
Long show.
Folks are tired.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I'm good. But
You good?
I think Ellis. I think that
let's
honey.
keep it going.
I think that honey
let's
bourbon.
Keep it going. I mean, I might pass out on my desk chair. You're like, yo,
hey, look,
he just. Oh, did he go all the way down?
I can't keep going. I got a wife and a dog upstairs that are not going to tolerate me being down here much longer.
See, there it is. There it is.
Probably more so my dog than my wife, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shout out to Maddie because my wife out there. I'm not sure she's gonna watch this. She probably watch. She don't do anything. She don't watch anything I do. But honey, no, I love you. I know you in bed. I've been quiet. I haven't been yelling. I haven't been acting crazy.
Nah, listen. Hey, look, we're gonna wrap this up. Again, I appreciate the two of y'all joining me to have this conversation. Ellis, one more time, where can people reach you?
You can reach me on Twitter at Ellis Mbeh, ELLISMBEH. And also for your digital and social media needs, pivotalnewmedia.com, again, to help you leverage your digital efforts to help grow your business and bottom line. Do it. It's a free consultation. Not a problem. Again, you want to grow your business, you want to sell them records, you want to sell them movies, you want to do whatever. You want to win an election. If you have a budget, or win an election. I can actually do that if you just have the right budget.
You can do that.
Let's do it.
My man.
Yeah, let's go.
My man. That's real.
That's what's up.
Now let's be
Wayne, how do people find you if you're not here causing shenanigans?
Follow the North Star, man. That's the best I can tell
you. I'm saving the world, baby.
Okay, so no, right now, like I said, we as far as our online presence, everything is actually due to launch in about 2 weeks. It's just gonna be pricesglass.com. So that's our company. We do commercial, residential, auto glass. As far as if anybody just needs some advice, just like I said, look to the North Star. I'm here to make the world a better place, one day at a time. I'm here to save everybody. Get your rating systems in order, you know.
Get your scales right.
Abandon the foolishness. Get your minds right, because once you get your scale correct, you know,
everything else falls into place.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was important to start off the conversation with that, because once we get our scales correct, we can meet somewhere. We can't meet somewhere until we get our.
We gotta meet in the gray.
Yeah, we gotta meet. No. You keep trying to bring the gray into it. But I enjoyed this, man. This.
Hey, listen, man. I'm glad the two of you decided to join me for this. I had a really good time. It's good to chop it up with y'all. We'll definitely do this again. I'll have y'all on. You'll probably be on with people who are different than the people you were on this time, because I want to continue to bring academy levels of diversity to the show. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do. So look, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us for so long, or listening to us for so long. If you're doing it on the audio side of things, this has been Good Conversation and Shenanigans. We had some of both here tonight. I appreciate y'all. We're out. Lose and lose. All right.